7 fails. Do you want an 8? All right.
It's 100% my fault. Very sorry.
Welcome, One Giant Leap, StoryTogether, crew, Ian.
Episode 8.
Second to last episode. Thrilled to have you here. In the spirit of how intense this episode is likely to be, where you may be at as an audience, we're gonna dive right into it. Sound good? So where we last left off, we were planning our assault on the Colossus, which is inspired, or I should say empowered by the firewall and is literally the size of Mount Everest. Last episode, somehow this crew managed to save both Cetos and Tane, which was incredibly impressive on a number of different levels, and get the iris out of the pyramid. So where we really last left off is we all boarded the Kaizen once again, and we were formulating plans to assault the Colossus in the battle for it all. Sound like a plan? Does that jive with your understanding of where we stand as well?
Yeah.
I thought you said get the IRS out of the pyramid. Get out of here.
But, well, taxation is theft, right?
Oh.
At the end of the day. You need some good social welfare programs in order to function in a modern society. In any event.
Pay your taxes, kids.
Unless you can,
Unless
unless you can get away with it.
in small communities, maybe it would work differently, but in large ones, it probably doesn't. However, that's not for me to
Moving
say.
on.
Let's not play the game. Let's
When we
talk
create
about
our own commune, everyone, you're all invited. That's what I'm
On
here.
Mars.
Maybe. Actually, that's probably what they'll end up doing. So,
We're
here's the
starving.
deal. We are all in the sort of the bridge of the Kaizen. Everybody is there that you know, as well as 13, who has been healed and
boy.
resurrected, Gab and all that. And of course, you did name your wife, although I apologize for forgetting her name.
Oh, don't worry, I did too.
Okay. So this is
also
what they
forgot
call a
Marguerite.
world building continuity issue, but don't worry about it.
Was it
certainly-
Margaret?
Marguerite.
It was Marguerite.
Marguerite?
Yes, like
Yeah.
margarita.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
This is why you take notes.
Yeah.
There it
I
is.
just wing it.
Michaela's always our note taker.
So Cetos is at the center of the room, and where we start is he's gonna be presenting the idea for the weapon that we're gonna use against the Colossus. Does that work for everybody? Ready to dive right in?
He last session already present the idea.
He gave a very high-level overview, but we didn't have a chance to talk about it.
Cool.
So we're gonna use that as the sort of gravity to pull us into this episode.
Awesome.
Also, Marcus's consciousness is in the cloud, and his body is now Arnold's wife's body.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
So you can inhabit
Hey
13
kids,
if you want.
don't think about it.
I can inhabit any AI in that.
Inhabit my legs.
Don't we have like a bunch of like?
Yeah. Yeah.
we
I
just,
mean, they're
like,
not as
throw
advanced
together
as
a
13,
ribbon?
but you definitely have some. All right. We're already losing it.
I missed something, but I feel like that's
Jared,
a
are
good
you
thing.
okay?
Uh-oh.
It's 100% my fault. Very sorry. Okay.
What happened?
What have you done?
So Cetos stands in front of you all on the bridge. You're all circled around him, and he says that when he was more or less willingly under the control of the wolf, he had an inspiration for a device which they may have ended up using, but we can now use to our advantage. Basically, what it is a sort of a conduit for the collective potential energy of this crew to funnel into to create almost like a blade of potential energy that would be used to literally cut the Colossus in half, right? Because otherwise, what weapons the ship produces or what weapons we could conjure would not materially injure, a creature, a being of that size. So it's, funneling our potential energy into that has its pros. This weapon will be able to form. The cons are we can't deploy them elsewhere. So we're going to have to be very strategic about how we ended up using it in this fight, right?
Okay.
So, between us, we're going to have to hit a certain limit to make this sort of massive energy sword, which will funnel out of the ship, big enough in order to slay the Colossus. The second part is we literally have to get to the Colossus. The tactical readout that Asima got is that they have deployed the 100 million Leviathan army around the Colossus, and the Witch is also alive, and they have surrounded it and are ready for us. However, Rana said at the end of last episode that she can get us there. So, for what it's worth.
I believe her.
Did you say last time, did we have schematics of the Colossus?
I think you know enough. I think CTOS would have more of an understanding. I mean, we can definitely talk about what that would look like, but that's basically what CTOS has laid on the table, and I think it's now to start the episode, really, is you guys to react to that, set a plan in motion.
I had a quick
roll.
question.
Yeah?
Is CTOS now in his true physical form, or is that still like up for debate in terms of the
I would
philosophy
say that,
behind
yeah,
it?
I would say this is his as true a form as he has. I would say his true form is technically the Curiosity rover,
Right.
But
Simple.
But as far as it
I would
goes
say,
now.
yeah, I would say
Similar
in
to
his
your
evolved form,
consciousness,
this
he's kind of like in a
is
cloud.
his form. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to check in with Legs and just ask, are you all right? Because we're about to go kill your granddad, so, like, how are you? I know, I'm
Yeah.
caring about something
Yeah.
that's new to me.
I'd like for us to not have to kill him, but I'm, as sad as it is, I'm ready for that eventuality. So, again, I'd like to not have to. I'd love to be able to talk him out of this, restore possibly his humanity, or, maybe we severed the tie when whatever we did with the wolf, if that worked, whatever. We don't know because we just saw his avatar form go, and then we don't know what happened in real life with him. He was in the Colossus with my grandfather, so that it could already be solved for us. We could have to fight for it. Could have to kill him.
What I will say along those lines is at the end of last episode, when the wolf was defeated mentally, your grandfather is the one who said, we're going to have to settle this like our ancestors did on the battlefield. And what you did see is that he had outfitted the man that you know as the wolf with a helmet of the wolf's design to basically retake over his thoughts, more like to turn himself into an automaton for his mission. So while you defeated his human form, James Young, your grandfather, is ultimately now the only sentient, I would say more or less in control of their consciousness, because the witch unfortunately has almost evolved. She's almost like a zombie of a certain type. She's immensely powerful, but she's not quite all there, whereas James is. And I think what you kind of gathered from that conversation is that he's willing to go to the grave over this, as they all are.
Which, as well am I.
Yeah.
But maybe we can find an alternate route.
No, fair
and
enough.
the wolf is technically dead, like right next to his grandfather.
He's dying, and his connection to
He's a brittle old man now.
the firewall has been severed permanently.
But his grandfather's connection is still very much
yes, sir.
there.
Yep.
And he's an old man in body.
Uh,
But he's just connected to.
He kept that form, but he's incredibly fit and healthy because he's drawing off the potential energy.
But he doesn't have metal legs, so he's got nothing on me.
Right.
That's cool. cool.
He does
Fair.
have the Colossus.
Yeah, he's got
So,
a whole
in
metal
But
terms
if
of
we
the-
cut his legs off,
In terms of the battle plans, really, think of it like this. You have the Colossus, and then around him, basically think of Mount Everest, and you have the 100 million Leviathans you can deploy in any direction. So, when CTOS starts, and Asim is up there with him as the chief tactical officer, we really don't have a choice but to do, an all-out assault and just find a way to make it there, survive through the process of making it there, channel our collective connections to the firewall in order to generate this weapon and have, Rana guide the ship in a way that would cut it. There's really nothing else for it.
Do we know the coordinates to make that shot?
What do you mean?
What area? It's one specific blast of energy.
I was gonna say, I have
Do
two-
we have the
two
coordinates? Like Mr. Data, these coordinates don't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, if the Colossus is like, a normal figure that just happens to be like of immense size, really it would just like try to cut it in half right here. So there's, you would sever down all of its components. So like, half a torso and legs couldn't really do very much, and then half this. By the way, it's also missing a hand, if you remember correctly.
Would that
Yeah.
would that potentially shut down the Leviathans?
The Colossus is this the central nexus of control over the army. Like when you succeed here,
I'm
it's
just
game.
worried that if we cut it in half, that it's still going to be somewhat operational.
I was gonna say I have two questions. One, where is my grandfather like in the head? Like is that like the
He's
central?
actually in the chest cavity.
Okay.
which Marcus found out 2 episodes ago.
Okay.
Right, where you'd think he'd be in the head like the bridge of the ship,
Right.
but it's more of a symbology for the heart, symbolism, I should say, for the heart.
And then second question, looking at the schematics, if we like cut it across the chest, is there like some sort of like, you know how rocket ships that go to space have multiple stages?
Yep.
So that like if the lower part, once it gets too heavy, they just shoot off the upper part and then the upper part.
Yeah, it's a
Is there any way for like the Leviathan army to all shovel into the head so that if we cut it across the chest, they can still get some to Earth or something?
That's a great question. So just to, I think, expand on that in a little more detail. So the feet are what we would consider the rockets, but they're more or less empowered with the same type of propulsion that what brought you here. Not the same, though, which is very important. So CTOS does have some of the diagrams, to your point. So if the torso, which is where the army would be stored, is separated from the propulsion, they can't go anywhere.
Okay.
Not to mention, if it is functionally severed in that way, then whatever that central nexus of control would also be destroyed. It's the killing blow, right? It's not as sort of obvious as the one weak point on the Death Star. Sorry about that. But it's more about just you have to straight up cut Mount Everest in half.
Let's just do it.
I mean, we've done some crazy stuff. This
Yeah.
would certainly top that. But that's pretty much it. So that's kind of the plan that's been presented to you. So obviously I think it's more about suggestions and feedback and refining to the extent that you want, and then ultimately setting course.
So does Rana maybe want to elaborate on her plan, or are we just going in blind?
Are you going to ask her that?
Yeah.
So you say basically...
I would just like, I'm sitting with her anyway, so I'd be like, so, like, I trust you, obviously, but,
Pig wants to know.
yeah, there's just, I know the mantra is don't worry, be happy, but I'm
Right.
worried.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think Ron is an enormously confident person, and for good reason, right? I think her response to you would be, they're going to come at us, and they're going to know we're coming. So I can't tell you how I'm going to get there until I'm dodging them in real time, right? And you have to remember that the power that she, was married to through her own desire was getting us to where we need to go. So I think she has a great deal of faith that she can't be like, here's a chart and here's this, because she doesn't know how they're going to get deployed. And she just knows in real time that she has faith that she'll find a way to get us there.
I think Marcus would say that
Power
after
and
hearing that,
potential.
he'd say, you may be the greatest pilot to ever exist. I think we're still going to need some sort of other distraction to go along with that. To
That would be very
take off
helpful.
a couple million, so
Yeah,
to speak.
that would be very helpful.
The
If you-
greatest pilot to ever exist, you say.
sorry.
Present company excluded, of course.
Yeah, sorry.
You may carry on.
My bad, buddy.
She would actually agree with that. Obviously, for increasing her chances. She's not a prideful, or she doesn't feel like she's prideful. Taking some of the heat off the ship, especially because they're all equipped with those matter erasers. Like, think about those rays of sunshine, and she's dodging millions of those. I mean, even with the firewall, that is.
so how do we distract?
It's like
how do we-
dancing
That's
what we're
what
discussing.
I was thinking.
That's the.
Seema,
that's
I
how
was
we
thinking-
set the plan in
planning to
place.
dance between rainbows.
I was thinking Asima.
Right.
That is
You
a
can't be
really
killed.
good metaphor.
You can be a great distraction.
The only
Distract
problem
several million
is
in your
if-
own little craft.
So my understanding is that the craft, whatever craft I would be in would not be indestructible. I would be,
Right.
in theory, but by indestructible, it's not that my understanding is that the power is my physical form can still be destroyed, but then I can reconstitute it.
That's
So
right.
there would, in theory, be a point in time where they're not they think they've destroyed me,
But
so
it's
I'm not going to
instant.
be able to.
Correct?
Is it
What's
how
instant?
The regeneration.
reconstitution? How long would that take if I were to be?
No more than a few seconds, maybe even less than a second.
Okay.
We could
And the
strap
thing
you
is,
to
though,
the
that you
front
could
of the
be
ship.
imprisoned.
Better yet, I
Meanwhile,
could fly her in.
You just can't be killed.
yes. And meanwhile,
I'll fly her in.
I could be literally hacking different drones and mainframes because I can go anywhere. And
One thing
My
while you're all
consciousness.
planning, you have to have a certain amount of people at the end. If you successfully
Right.
reach it, you have to spend 100% of your power to generate this weapon.
So we all have to be together to be able to do.
You all have to be on the ship. Whoever's generating the weapon must be physically present on the Kaizen.
How many of us do
all
we
of us,
need?
yeah, exactly. How
I'm
many?
sorry?
Does everyone have to be present on the ship to generate the power it requires to cut that thing?
So let's see. We have obviously the 6 of you.
Right.
We
Plus-
have Tane. 13
Rana.
hasn't
Tane.
connected.
Rana.
Rana.
Citas.
And obviously your wife, Marguerite.
Yeah.
So
So do we
Citas.
Your
all
Marguerite does not have a connection.
No.
She is the connection.
Yeah. Do we all
Yeah.
hold our power rings out to the center and summon Captain Mars?
I mean,
That would be
Listen.
dope.
there needs to be an overt team-based thing that is very fun.
I'm
in these
not.
stories.
I'm not giving you crap. I just think it's great.
Fair enough.
Should we connect 13? Does anyone think that's a bad idea? Because otherwise, we probably should do it.
Well, I was gonna say Mark is connected and he was fine.
Well,
Well, we don't know
But
what
I mean, that's
13's greatest
that's up to
wishes.
13.
I don't know if we should leave it
I
up to
hope
him.
it's stockings.
That's up
Yeah,
to 13.
Technically, he has to want it. Or else he
13
literally can't connect.
13
so-
is now looks exactly like me because we are twins.
Yeah.
Well,
and
you look
he's
like
I guess
fully
my
repaired,
point is,
huh?
my concern.
he's the only form that looks like you. You now look like Marguerite.
I look like whatever I want to look like. It's the best part.
Marguerite
Okay.
looks like Marguerite.
My concern is that I don't know. I think that 13 would take the opportunity to connect, but I don't know what his greatest wish is. And I also know that he's suicidal. So, like, I don't want his greatest wish to be, I want to be dead. And
Well,
then
that was literally 2 of our people.
His wish is probably going to be almost identical to mine if I had to guess.
You can ask him, and if you are successful, then you get an additional person, which adds some flexibility. What
We
I'm
can
going to
prep
say
him.
is that CTOS does not count because he's the one holding the conduit open,
Okay.
right? So, like, think of a vessel that holds the liquid.
Oh shoot! What would have happened
right?
if Cetas had died? There would be no vessel to be open.
It just would have been way harder. Way harder.
Yeah.
In any event, that was supposed to be way harder, but, you guys do what you do well.
So-
Anyway, so CTOS doesn't count. So there's, actually, Tane can't do it
Tanya.
because he was blossomed. So he can't do anything that would be considered
Oh.
offensive. So he is actually out permanently. He can do defensive things for the ship, but he is out, which means there's the 6 of you, Rana, who can't help you because she's piloting. So there's the 6 of you, your wife, who can't access it, and then there's 13 who can. So you need 6 people to fill it.
I say we just stick together, and we kind of just jump ship at the last minute when we need to. After
You don't have to abandon ship.
No. I mean, like, we do the thing, whatever the thing may be.
We
Do the thing.
It's the power ring thing that you described.
Yeah.
Well, if we are interested in also someone being a distraction, we do have someone who looks just like our captain, whose greatest wish is to die. Not that I support that. I don't.
See,
I saved
We
him.
don't know if
Not
that's
his
his
greatest
wish.
wish.
You say that,
Yeah.
but you also suggested it, so...
You can talk to him. Talk to
So
13.
that's my
Yeah.
point. I
Let's-
think we
Yeah.
should ask 13
let's
He's
have a
my-
conversation with
my
him.
twin
Let's have a
brother.
conversation with him and see how that goes, and then we can determine.
Because
what
none
the
of us
next
were
step is.
prepped before
He's
we were
there.
prompted.
What do you want to
What's
say?
your greatest?
He's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
He's listening to this whole thing. He's there. What do you
I
want to
guess
say?
I would leave the floor to him. Like, do you want to be a part of this? And like, if so, do you have an idea of how you would be included, or are you just kind of leaving it up to us?
You've seen the powers we've been imbibed with. That was just through a psychic question of what's your greatest wish. So if you were prompted, what is your greatest wish?
Do you know what you'd say?
Well, I don't know if any of you would have been able to honestly answer that about yourselves until it happened. So I am willing to try, and I am certainly willing to help out this mission. I have seen the 2 sides at play, and while there is a part of me that will always see some of the wisdom in their approach, ultimately I have to side with your perspective. So I'm certainly willing to try and, like all of you, sacrifice my life if need be.
All right.
I support that entirely, and I can get Pig to help him figure out how to connect.
Okay. So
I can't see your dice as easily from over here.
Probably for the best.
it was, he did not roll well. That said,
Buddy.
it is significantly harder for him because he has so much baggage himself to go in, and I think it's harder for him to let go. When he finds himself in his vision, I'm just going to tell you this more as exposition. You wouldn't actually know this. You're kind of just seeing him suffer.
Can I help him
He puts him.
by being with him mentally?
Yes, you can, because only you have the power to do that. Yeah, I would still say only you. So yeah, you can augment that if you want.
I'll definitely help my brother.
Trying to think of the right role. It's more like it's like a type of persuade. You're comforting him.
Intuition?
Well, it's either
Persuade?
negotiator or empathetic. under
Empathetic.
persuade.
Empathetic, yeah.
Yep.
That sounds actually perfect for this.
That's the definition.
Intuition, empathetic.
Yeet, dude.
Ooh.
11 plus 2.
Okay. Marcus, you enter 13's thoughts, and he is groundhogging day the destruction of Paris, which he caused, right? And the guilt is holding him back from being able to access the firewall. And he's just constantly reliving it. Not only like a handful of seconds are passing in your reality, but you can see that he's just stuck. And when you come into his reality, he's exhausted, but ultimately he sees you, and you don't even say anything, in my opinion. I mean, you can tell me, but to me, you just like put your hand on his shoulder, and you give him the feeling like it's okay, this wasn't you. That physical presence, that emotional presence, is what conveys that to him. And when he does it, in the moment that he creates his connection to the firewall, is his greatest wish is to make up for those mistakes.
Nice.
Even though he didn't cause it. But that is his greatest wish. So in terms of his power,
He can negate incoming damage. Or no, he can, yeah, because that's your...
Maybe
so he would have...
you can team up with my power, maybe?
I would interpret that making up for it is actually more of a bonus against things on Earth than here. His are more Earth-based, right? Because he would be like, if Adewale had an army of hymns, he would just mess them up. Or if he had conversations with folks on Mars or here, he would be able to have a great deal of wealth and insight. I think his power is going to have to be directly related to the pain and suffering that he caused in some capacity. So that is what he gets.
But he can still be one of the 6.
Yep.
Now.
He still has a connection. Yep, that's great.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so that means that we now have more than 6 people connected.
You have 7 total people, and you need 6 at the end of all things.
Okay.
So I could, in
So-
theory, still be that distracted.
Actually, you have 8, but Ron is out, so it has to be 7.
Drop me off with my grandpa and then cut through the ship.
He's in the chest. You got to find a way in.
That's the
Or cut through the ship.
I think
ship and then...
you
Oh, yeah.
we could do a shared action where I upload my consciousness into you and basically send you into the heart of the chest,
Could do that.
into one of the machines next to your grandfather, or one of the AI or whatever it is.
I also
You wouldn't send his body.
Not his
You
body.
might be
No,
able
no,
to
no,
like,
his
you know how
mind.
like,
it's just a,
if you're being polite and there's an elderly woman, you help her cross the street. You
Uh-huh.
could do that with Legs' consciousness.
that's what I'm talking about. I didn't say his literal
why?
form.
Yeah, but then his form won't
Because
be.
what could I do?
No, to talk to your grandfather to distract him, guilt him,
Okay,
like
yeah.
take his eyes. It's like, like the eye of Sauron, like distracting
Also-
the eye.
We do have 2 small flying circles that you could put your consciousness into as well, if you would rather do it that way.
you could go in Piglet.
You could be Piglet if you want.
You want me to? But they put that at risk, at great risk.
He would
We're
be
all
great
at risk, I would say.
I
Pretty
mean, you're
significant
at the least
risk.
amount of risk. You can just like body jump out of Piglet and come
That's
back
true.
to
No,
the ship.
I know.
And also Pig...
I'm fine. I'm just worried about
Yeah.
Piglet's.
Pig
Pig is where the
stays.
neural link is. Piglet has nothing. He's just a little,
Oh,
a little
don't
buddy.
say
No,
it's
but the only reason logically why I'm thinking I could get your conscious
just a little
because you're
boo-boo.
connected to Piglet, which I can connect with anything to help guide you to distract your grandfather.
Will that be enough, though? Based on the
don't-
power
I think
level that the
there's
grandfather
100
has.
million Leviathans, right?
I mean,
you're
I have
also-
master
hold on,
persuasion,
guys,
so I
guys,
could.
guys. When was the last time your character saw his grandfather? Has he ever? Yeah.
I don't even think.
I don't
in the
think he
firewall,
cares about
in the
Yeah.
firewall vision you
Like,
interacted with.
Even
I'm
like as a
sorry.
child, I didn't.
I don't
That's the
think
first time
this
you
is
met
one
him.
of those situations where the familial bond is really going to play a big role here because you don't know him. I mean, I get it.
That
It's
depends on the
been-
roles.
It depends on the roles. It does, but I think our best bet is sending in Piglet
What do you mean?
To
like,
do
to
what?
do everything and like keep his consciousness just away. Keep you safe. You important.
Yeah,
Fair.
I do think it is important that if we do send anybody directly in, I do not think that it should be their physical form connected to their consciousness. Like, I don't think it is smart to possibly sacrifice an entire being. Like, even if we send Piglet in with Leg's consciousness, if something were to happen, his consciousness could still return to his own form.
There's no literal form going into the ship.
Let me-
It is
let me-
all. It's simply me because I can like that go into any
Helping
computer
the
I
old
want
lady.
to.
I'm the old lady. You're helping the old lady
But
cross the
it's
street.
all. There's no physical form. Even
Right.
Piglet. Everyone is going to be on the ship. This
Right.
is just
I'll be
sending-
sitting
So-
in this chair on the ship.
Yes.
And then we'll link our brains
Yes.
together
Exactly.
and shoot our brains into
I
space.
don't like that. I don't like that even a little.
In the interest of moving things forward, so Rana says she can get us through to the Colossus, right?
Yep.
So she says she can pilot us there. So you're saying that the weapon we use is going to be this blade. Is that the ship dragging it or something, or is it the ship shooting out?
Is the ship the blade?
Think of her helmet.
Okay.
So the helmet is metal, and then
Right.
there's the
The
thing on
crest.
top of it. So coming out of the Kaizen, there will sprout a blade like this, and then she'll guide the ship to do that
All right.
in 1 minute.
So we're basically a giant shuriken.
right.
Okay. Cool. And that's the plan. We use our powers in the ship as she and her piloting skill to get us there.
But
cut the Colossus.
Once we get there.
And then I think that the plan beyond 13 that was floated is, can we take the heat off the Kaizen in some way? The answer might be no.
Are we also dealing with a swarm of ships?
Well,
the
so
swarm
that's
is in
the
space. The Leviathan
Okay.
is not part of the
Wait,
swarm.
hold on.
Just need the
Is there any way this might have nothing to do with anything? But did we get a power of like holograms or something?
No.
I feel like that was somewhere.
We had
Yes,
talked about that.
We
were
have
in-
holograms in the ship.
We were in a hologram, but I was wondering if we can like make a bunch of
Yeah.
fake Kaizens.
I was trying to think of a way to do
Like,
that.
yeah.
No one took illusion as their ability,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It'll just be significantly more difficult.
Wait a minute,
Although-
wait a minute, wait a
I
minute.
took that
So
stealth.
Tane might be able to
I have
do
an,
it.
I have a suggestion on that actually. So you can hack systems, right? Can you hack into the swarm and make every bit of those swarms give a
Well,
signal
that's the
like
thing.
the
The
Kaizen?
swarm is controlled by the Colossus. It's controlled by the grandfather.
I don't think
I
it
thought you
is.
just said it wasn't.
The swarm is in
Swarm-
space.
yeah.
The Leviathan army is directly controlled by
Two
the
different things.
Colossus.
Yeah.
Was the swarm,
Swarm was
controlled by the wolf?
The
Swarms
swarm
were
are
the
like,
drones.
So
That
are the
was
swarms
the
are
wolf,
still
right?
active?
you know, like Plymouth Rock, like that's one swarm unit. They're very small, but they leech life and power and cut through hulls.
But
right?
there's
And they travel in hundreds of thousands. That's a swarm of those. Whereas Leviathans are 8-10 foot tall wolf-headed machines that have matter erasers and they're
So
very
we
tough.
use the
Could we
swarm to
trick-
distract the Leviathan.
Yes.
Yeah,
we-
could
we
we
could
trick
hack
the
them.
That's
swarm?
that's plausible.
We distract the
Trick-
Leviathans or have them eat the Leviathans. Just
That's plausible.
Have
But you'd have to
Okay.
hack them.
Trick
Yes.
the swarm into
And you could probably
locking
do-
onto the heat signature of the Kaizen, but those heat signatures are the Leviathans.
Yeah.
We
That's
trick
plausible.
or make swarms into the shape of the Kaizen.
Yeah, either way. I think
like
it's-
little fish.
Yeah.
Like
Wait, I
I
have
think
a
it is
really
like the
good
end of
idea
Rango.
Yeah.
tactically.
Yeah.
Hilariously. All right, we use your idea.
good. I
really-
like it.
Yeah, I like his plan. But then I use more or less my nature power, to call it what it is, to create huge bands of clouds and fog in that entire region.
Ooh.
So, and if we make the swarm fly in patterns, in like units of patterns that mimic the shadow structure of the Kaizen itself, they won't know what to shoot at.
If you use thunderbolts and lightning, they'll find it very, very frightening.
I think they will. Not to mention, I am going to have to fight the witch. I have a
Honorable
feeling
miss,
that
honorable
I
miss.
need to fight the witch,
I got
and
that.
that this is my fight.
I got that.
Okay, so we have our plan.
And at
And-
the end, are we the ship going directly to the center of the Colossus and all entering together? Is that
No, we're blowing it up.
No, we're blowing it up.
slicing
It is
through the thing.
getting
And we're-
blown up.
so
I
we're
don't
not
care
trying
about
to
what's
go
inside
in.
it.
No.
at all?
You know when
Are,
two,
are we?
you know when two samurai just kind of like face off and then they like, yeah,
And then
and then one falls? That's
This guy gets it. This guy gets it.
I'm here for the ridiculous.
All right.
Last question. Are we going to cut off at the torso or cut the thrusters away from the Leviathan?
We're gonna cut directly across from
no.
shoulder
What
to
we're gonna
hip.
do,
Yeah.
shoulder to hip, and it's not gonna drop at once, but then all of a sudden,
Slide.
Yeah, it slides.
This guy gets it.
And if
also
there
watches
was
lots of
blood
horror movies
involved,
with
you'd
me.
see the spray of blood. Like,
Yes.
a la
There's no
anime.
like Samurai
Yeah,
Jack,
yeah.
when he like cut up and like
yeah,
beetle
exactly.
robots. Yeah.
Again,
Exactly.
It's like as much.
I mean,
blood
I'm
as
not sure what the
red.
tallest mountain that you've ever seen, but if you haven't seen something like that's ludicrously tall in person and sat there as a human being, like between 5 and 6 whatever feet, it is
Humbling.
true. Exactly, that's the
Yes.
perfect word. It is
Like as tall as
deeply
this roof.
humbling, and to have a weapon of war the size of the tallest mountain on this planet, I have to assume, no matter how brave you are, it is a somewhat imposing sight. Jokes
That's fine.
aside.
fine.
So we're gonna do this in phases. Phase 1, you're gonna try and take over the swarm to do your bidding and tactically help the ship. Both of you have to collaborate on that.
Let's do it.
How's that work?
So basically,
do
you have to find where they're being controlled from, and then you have to hand the baton to Legs to find a way to control them.
Okay.
So only you can find their control
So
point.
do we think
because-
that they were originally controlled by the
wolf?
No, they're controlled in Bella's tower. So their control is now all over the place. The witch
Okay.
actually controls it, but when you destroyed that nexus,
So no one controls it right now.
they can. So like, think of
Didn't
it.
she
if-
move her stuff to the moon?
They're on standby, I think.
Yeah, but then we shut down the moon.
Right.
Right.
So basically, they are.
Could do so much more. With
There
that
are
moon.
some.
This
So that's
is like orbital bombardment. They're not actually on like.
they're
No, they're
technically
drones.
spacecraft that are they're drones.
They're drones.
They're
Think
drones in the
bees.
upper atmosphere.
Were any destroyed or like negatively impacted by the disconnection from Bell's Tower?
I mean, we
When you
wouldn't
say
know.
negatively, I mean they're not doing very
They're
much
just
right now.
idle.
They're floating in space.
Yeah, they're mostly idle.
And how many are there?
A lot.
Billions? Millions?
I can't even.
They
You
come
said-
in
you said
swarms
100
of 100,000.
100 million
Let's
totally
put it this way.
Leviathans.
They were
Yep.
able to make 100 million Leviathans. So I'm going to guess like
Okay.
Yes, billions
A lot.
and billions.
That's
They're very small. They're like the size of this table. I
If you
mean,
can make
but there's
100
just
million
so many
tanks, how
clusters.
many
That's why
drones
they're a
can you make?
swarm.
yeah. Remember like
I
Are we-
wonder if we could do one
can I make a
concentrated
video game
blast on
reference?
the witch with the.
I'm sorry.
Please do.
I
We
think
need
we've
to
gotten
find
past
where
it.
she rooted her
Okay.
system.
Have you played Halo 1?
Mm-hmm.
You know the Sentinels?
Oh yeah.
Those things.
Yeah. yeah.
But billions of them.
Right. right.
So like,
so
if someone were attacking Mars, like you guys, they
Oh, yeah, I
thought you
remember, I
were.
remember.
Ship comes in, they all latch to your hull. You have
Yeah.
no energy in about 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
To be
yeah.
fair,
Or they
kind
can
of,
cut. They
kind
can
of
cut
right.
it. Right.
So you need to learn where the witch rerouted her system
Right,
from when
yeah.
we disrupted the
Right.
tower.
I guess would that be
It's hacking.
hacking into the mind of the witch, or what source?
Still
She doesn't
fire-
control it.
just-
So you're what you're
I'm trying
meditating
to
on,
just-
for lack of a better, is the swarm in totality. That's the image that you're trying to funnel through.
Sure. So
the
what would
firewall.
that? I guess what would that role be to meditate on that?
I'd say it's electronics because ultimately their connections are electronic.
For intuition.
Can I help support that as well, or because I have a master in electronics, or should I?
You know what would really help there, guys? The predator suit. I'm kidding. No, probably not,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
What about if I'm also making the same roll at the same time to double our chances with Pig to see if Pig can find the same information?
I wouldn't do it at the same time because guaranteed ironic consequences. But
They find each other.
maybe if he fails, then that could be your failsafe.
Okay.
So Arnold's fit now because she did the whole heal everything
Right.
thing. So
Right.
he's at the gym.
Okay.
Just let you know.
Not listening to this extremely life or death play. I just
Bulking
literally
up.
lifting.
Is it, do
I'm
you
gonna
still
punch that Colossus in the face.
you don't need the neck brace anymore, but you keep it on
well,
just as a
I don't have
memento.
enough room because now my neck's massive.
Ah.
Because you're just so swole.
I look like that dude that would fight kangaroos in the 1920s.
14.
Plus you're happy.
So the image that you get is obviously Mars is like this, but all around it there's like these shifting ships, almost like life forms in a way, right? Like if you think of like, protozoa back before, complex life form. They're just like hanging around in an ocean. They don't really know what to do. So what you decide to do is interject. The closest analogy that I can draw is neurons. So it's almost like you fire electronic neurons in between them to form a network,
Like a Tesla coil.
right? And you feel like there's almost like a gravity at your fingertips where you can pull and push and orient them and have some degree of control over them. So you are successful you basically have control over the swarm.
Baller. Dude. Baller.
Now, in terms of actually getting them to do stuff, I would say you're gonna have to hand it over to your buddy Legs, because only he has he can recode their programming on the
Only
fly like
you.
that.
Can prevent the
So
Colossus.
you could basically just like hand it to him almost.
Slide it over to my PDA.
You're gonna
Are we
retransfer
both
it.
just plugged into the piggles?
I would say that you both can directly connect to the firewall,
Nice.
right? Which is an extraordinary, in a manner of speaking,
A very
it's almost like a
sensual act.
reservoir in a network. There's just so many complicated things that can flow through it, is that you can both be connected. As a matter of fact, I would hazard to guess that Legs is aware of what you just did, because he's very in tune with it.
Ding.
Gandalf. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. So, what
We
do
do
you
it.
What do you wish to do with it, though?
I am going to try and have the swarm group up in the same way that Nora suggested, so that when she creates her fog clouds, they look like the Kaizen, but like those small swarms are going after the Leviathans, thinking that they are the Kaizen as well.
Well, like multiple Kaizens. Like
Yeah.
many,
Right,
many,
right.
many, many,
The
many,
Leviathan,
many
the
Kaizens.
Leviathans think that the swarm are the Kaizen, and the swarm thinks that the Leviathan are the Kaizen.
Nice.
May I
Make a suggestion?
No.
Okay.
No, it's,
All right.
Still at the gym.
Oh, may I make a suggestion? So, what I would say is they take the shape of the Kaizen in the fog. Maybe they're giving off the signal of the Kaizen. The second they're like almost on top of the Leviathans, have them just spray out and like go over a wide area. So now it's a cloud of swarm surrounding them all.
Replace
Yeah.
my fog with swarm by the middle of
Yes.
this fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So they start in concentrated bursts, and then 5 minutes into the fight, it's everywhere.
It's gonna last way less than 5 minutes. God willing, you guys are in trouble. But all right. I
Well,
mean, you have to roll electronics with hacking to basically hack the artificial network that Marcus just created to do your bidding.
I'm gonna do it.
Remember,
I
kids.
believe you.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna, on their way down from space, they're gonna form a giant pair of legs. They just come down, and then the legs separate into the small guys.
They turn into
Is
another
that-
giant robot to duke it out with this giant robot.
Ooh, that's a 1. Good thing I'm a master in those. That's an 18.
Wow.
That's an 8. So I'll take the 18 plus hacking of 6. And good justification of a plus.
What it'll be beyond what a justification.
Remember,
So
kids, when someone is
classic.
stronger and smarter than you, be devious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Damn.
almost as if you have a net of fish. You pull them out of their orbit, and then you can feel them through the network. Start to descend through the upper atmosphere. I would imagine that if you are a citizen of Mars Prime, it is an enormously unnerving sight
Good.
to see the swarm descend through the atmosphere.
Well, one of their towers was just destroyed yesterday
Yeah,
from a
these
giant
poor
lightning
people.
bolt.
There's
So
been a-
they're
it's
having
been a bad couple
they're
days.
having a bad 48
People are
hours.
so confused because they doubt that they're telling anybody like publicly what exactly is happening.
Well, they can't because you messed up their network.
And
True.
didn't we disseminate the truth
We did do that
to the
didn't
masses
we?
before that happened?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
also, they
They're
also
so
successfully
confused.
countered it with their own propaganda, so now they have no idea what to believe.
Yes.
One of their largest structures put a giant hole into their society, and their leaders are now fighting when they're being told that demons are invading their city.
I would rather
So,
them be confused than to just straight up hate us. So
they
Easy to work
think
with.
you're probably literal Earth demons, and their society is
They are.
crumbling in a
Crumbling.
biblical sense.
They are correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're not.
put
really
a bomb on the
wrong.
moon.
Yes, I
I
did.
would like to do something before the fight.
Okay.
I would like to attempt to contact the witch using nature power.
Nature power.
Talk to her through a lightning bolt. Like the cans and string?
Wait,
But you
hold on.
can say no. You're.
I wouldn't say that you're going to be able to talk to her via nature power, but because you have an
can just call
extremely
her.
similar, if not downright identical connection to the firewall, you can attempt to leverage that very similar to what you just said, like the can. So you're not necessarily adept in it, but you can give it a whirl.
Okay, so what would it be?
Persuasion?
Probably, I know you're not persuading, but it's an attempt at communication.
Intuition?
Okay,
Electronic?
can I?
Yeah, no, actually, intuition is a little bit better.
Okay, can I not use that though? Can I use like nature?
Wait, why don't you do science?
Science?
You know, I like nature as a role, actually. I think
Yeah,
nature would
I
work
just think
really
it's
well
like-
because technically it's outdoors.
Yeah, I just imagine like I alter the breeze around her to give her a message because I
You,
think
you speak to the butterfly.
I do speak. To
Nice.
I heard it on the wind.
Speaks in Sith, though. Just in the corner quietly.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it's an 11, and I don't know what talents I could add to that.
You wouldn't. It would just be your
Yeah,
connection
exactly,
to the
11.
firewall. What are you trying to say?
I want to ask if I'm just gonna tell her it's like this isn't your fight. You're just a pawn in all of this, and if you walk away now, no one will look for you.
So this is, it's not like a phone. It's one way.
I know,
right?
but
so you
I'm-
can definitely successfully communicate that concept.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say like this is your last chance to walk away and live.
I'm sure she would say the exact same thing to you if she had any compassion for you whatsoever.
Exactly. I'm just
just
trying to
walk
show
away.
compassion.
Right.
Her
Wait,
response is, you and your friends are dead.
all right.
Your faith in your friend.
Do we feel ready?
No, but yeah.
Yeah.
So can
ready
using my
Glad I
power,
got that
can I
nat
like
one out of the
create a
way now.
shield around the ship? Like an extra
No,
shield?
not fully, but at critical points.
You can
Strap
through
yourself to the front.
me because think about it.
I'm listening.
Since I can be part of the ship, she can link her power to me, and I can put that new force field ability in front of the ship.
Marcus now has
You
all
can-
of our
she
powers.
can do it by herself in front of the ship, but in
Right.
terms of totally encircling a ship of that size,
No, just the front.
Can I ask?
I'm actually gonna give her something better than that. Go ahead, Chris.
Could I ask legs for something?
Yes, but after her turn.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
So basically, what you can do is you can, using the tactical system in much more real time than you were capable of before. Let's say that the Kaizen is about to hit a division of these Leviathans, and they're about to hit the ship with the erasers. You can put your shields up where you know the ship is going to get hit. So you're almost
Got it.
like doing this,
Immediate-
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
like this, right? So
Okay.
you're going to have to roll
On dodge.
in likely many cases.
Okay.
Just imagine a Seema
So
in
you're
the
gonna
middle
have
of
to
the
do
ship.
that. It's not
doing
like an
a
option.
dance.
Yeah.
But in terms of complete coverage, no, I'm afraid
Okay.
not. But you can definitely do what I just said, which is more powerful than what you asked for. Go ahead, Chris.
Could I give you my knife
Yes.
and say, do whatever you want to it?
You have a minute.
And then give it back.
Yeah. This is beforehand.
Yeah.
Then give it back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I have a workshop on the Kaizen.
The final
it's not like
killing
I-
blow
I,
is
I would
one
say the
knife
time
stab.
to workshop new items is not here.
Fair enough.
You, they're about to launch a massive invasion of your home planet.
That's
I
fine.
strap your bayonet to her light machete.
Yeah. It's a double knife.
Ah.
You just
Okay.
kind of duct tape it.
At the
It's
next
real
safe
quick.
harbor, though, you can have him do whatever the hell you
Do
want.
we get another
I'll
safe
deck it
I know,
out.
what,
Alright.
how the hell do we have another episode? All right.
Yeah, it's
We're gonna
inside
have
the
to go back
Colossus
to Earth
once
and
we
tell
beat
them.
'em.
I'm just gonna do.
There's a lot
quick-
left, so I highly suggest we rock and roll.
Let's
Let's do it.
Let's
do
do
this.
it.
I'm gonna tip tap
All right.
all of my
so,
team members, make sure we're all 100 health.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm gonna basically
Have a quick
use my
high five
body
to
as a
everybody.
physical
My legs
lightning
grow
rod
back
for whatever
inside
the
the
witch
middle
throws
ones
at
and
us, because I'm
agony.
just gonna be like, hey,
Okay. So
not actually, but just metaphor.
you know, I think there's almost like an uneasy silence. I think as you realize collectively at the same time that you've finished planning, and really the only thing left is to act, and that's like half the fun in a lot of
Can I
ways
just,
in life.
can like the ship be rocking like in Generations and Rikers and you know what I mean? That's what's going on.
Help me out.
Come on, that's pretty good.
Maybe it'll come down to that, but I think you all look each other in the eyes, and I think in many ways what you're about to do is probably the reason why you were chosen, right? For something like this, in order to be able to, you're the best of humanity's first golden age, trying to tackle a problem an absurdly unprecedented level, right? In a lot of ways. And, once more onto the breach, my friends, I think, right?
LFG.
So,
Whatever happens today, I want to say it was great to serve with you all.
Why would you lie right to my face like that?
Okay, it was great to serve with most of you.
There we go.
I'm sorry I bit you.
You did
No,
what?
you bit me.
Wait.
My mistake. Sorry, lots going on.
I'm just happy to be here. Let's kill them.
so Rana's not going to say anything, but she is going to put on the helmet. And I
Yeet.
said last time that her
That's
eyes
all we
glowed
need to
red,
hear.
but I want her eyes to glow jade because I think that's more of an apropos color for Rana.
Yeah. That's good.
Kind of baller. So she's gonna sit down. She's gonna look back. Like we need a scene.
She can change the
You know,
color
like
lines.
in the classic like shonen manga where it's like they all have to have a thing where they're like standing really cool in like a dope like fitted suit and they're all like doing that thing before they go off and do something epic. It's like that still shot. You guys feel me with that? Like I need something like that where like all of you are on the bridge and like you're looking out and like you can see the screen. And it's just like the Martian desert. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all be with me on this?
Off in the
Yeah.
distance,
Arnold-
we see a giant shadow,
It was a
and
wee
we're
bit
all
one
just
time
looking
in
out the
my life.
window.
Yeah.
Arnold's got his
exactly.
arm crossed and his top few buttons are
Right,
undone.
exactly.
Nice.
A little bit
Arnold's a
of a sprout
milf.
situation.
Jared's regular look.
So everyone strap in.
I don't
so,
think there's any
like,
beating that.
I got a baby Bjorn for Piglet right
Right.
in my front.
Right.
I'm confused what my physical form is. Maybe I'll just be in the body of your wife and like, ooh.
No, you're a hologram or
You'd
something.
be 13.
You can be
Prayers up.
don't
one
know,
of
I
my.
could
You could
be
just be
literally
any other robot
I
in
was
the
gonna say
whole
you can be
ship.
one of my doctor drones.
So
Got the masks on.
everyone straps in.
I'll be
Whether you're
13.
in the guest chair, tactical, science, engineering, medical
Like a
officer.
duality.
You all strap in.
And
Rana does it,
guests.
and it's time to get this show on the road.
Let's go.
Okay. Roll one. This is going to be more sequentially. Is going to be Rana's navigate to get this thing started.
Let's just get it started. It's going to be a 9 or above at least, so.
It was very bad.
No. God.
Good. Desperation.
She can't roll.
All right. You know what I just thought of though? The sound of the. Sorry for the reference. I really apologize, but the sound of the Millennium Falcon failing. They told me they fixed it. It's not my fault. But obviously, like she's a grandmaster. She's gonna do just fine. So
I do a quick repair.
The Kaizen. I think it was actually probably for a lot of that still parked inside the pyramid. So it exits the pyramid, and if you're kind of on like one of the palisades of Mars Prime, you see the Kaizen just absolutely rocket off over the desert, and you guys are speeding at an enormously fast but still relatively safe rate. In the distance on the view screen, I think you first see the shadow because it's casting a shadow so long. You could probably start to see the shadow near the event horizon. Then of course you start to see it, the Colossus. In the clear day of Mars, right? So there's still red sand, but there are clouds on Mars these days. So somewhat cloudy sky, and you see this massive, just incredible invention of mankind. And surrounding it, what looks like a swarm because you're so far off, but are like these dots that you can see all around it. And obviously you intrinsically know that that's the Leviathan army. Now, as you start to come into view, they move forward you so it's basically like one of those classic collision courses. So you are now
At
on
least the
pace.
guy's missing an arm, right, guys? Nice job.
Yeah, I think he's missing his left hand.
Okay.
I left
Yeah, 'cause I
hand.
think it was the left.
We got this.
In any event, so phase one is going to be to see how successful the swarm is, right?
Is that me?
Afraid so.
Oh, that's a 7. Oh, that's an 11. That's an 8. So I'll take the 11 plus hacking of 6 for 17.
Okay, and then you wanted to try and
Create fog and clouds and just make it like dark and depressing.
that is nature.
Oh!
I rolled 2 6s. What do I do?
What are the 2 dice that you rolled? Are those your first 2
There's
dice?
3 6s.
Sorry,
here,
there's
but,
3
like,
6s here, but these 2 dice go together because they're white, and then these 2
What are
dice
your-
go together
what-
because they're dark.
In all honesty, what are your first 2 dice? So, for example, if I roll 2 6s on this, that
The dark
counts.
ones, because they'll sit here first.
So then that is a natural 12.
Yes.
Okay.
Roll
Roll
another
Roll
one
another
more.
one.
Yeah.
A 1.
Okay.
A 13 total.
Oh,
Plus your
she
stuff,
almost
whatever
got
stuff
you.
you got.
Yeah, I have a lot of
That would
stuff.
have been dope.
That would have been dope.
The
'cause I
biggest
see what you rolled.
stall.
So
Is she trying to get rid of it?
you are strapped in your station on the bridge of the ship, trying, not to pay attention to the chaos beginning to unfold, and you, probably the first and perhaps only time in your life, find yourself not flying in the atmosphere, but the atmosphere itself, which I must imagine is a rather incredible feeling.
Again, humbling.
Yes. And you do sense another person there already. And you, this is very difficult to describe, but your consciousness is, however you'd say that 10 times fast,
Our conscious minds begin to war.
begin to vie for control over the atmosphere. And you just feel such an intense hatred and animosity and resentment to you from her, but for whatever reason, despite the fact that she has so much. By the way, if you hadn't rolled a natural 12, she would have crushed you.
Oh,
But-
absolutely. I saw what you rolled on your dice. and I was
just
like,
crushed
oh,
you,
no.
but because you did, no matter what she puts out, no matter what force she attempts to exert over something that she feels is hers, you're able to wrest the control from her, and you deploy the clouds exactly the way that you want, and she goes back into her body.
Damn.
Baller.
Heck yeah.
Literally no other roll in the
How
so
bi- how
you had a
bitter
35
does
out
the
of
witch
36
look?
chance
yeah,
of
no.
not succeeding.
I want to see her face.
She was already in an 11 mad, and she's now at a 15 mad for
Like,
sure.
and I can't stress this enough mathematically. She had a 35 out of 36 chance of failing that. But such is this game.
Yeah.
Any event. That's awesome. Your roll, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, you rolled.
I rolled
a
a
total 17.
17.
I apologize.
11
So
out of 20
as
plus
the
6.
Kaizen is screaming across the desert with the jade-eyed Rana at the helm, your mass of swarm, they initially go into their various subunits and they start to distract, the Leviathans right as really sub-atmospheric clouds start springing up everywhere. And if we could just zoom out a little bit and you see the Kaizen going in front of you, all you see are these rays of millions of rays of things as the Leviathan army try to wipe out everything in front of them, highly concentrated mosquito things, which is and obviously with the clouds and the atmosphere, that you've almost lowered the atmosphere in a lot of ways. In all seriousness, as the ship hits that, it's whoa, yikes. And
Can I tell you something thematically that would look beautiful in this moment?
Yeah.
Because they're releasing large amounts of photon-based energy, I would totally believe that from the light streaks from their weaponry, lightning is also coming off and traveling through this cloud belt.
right, and it probably is. And Rana, who can see through this, although
Put
the
the
ship
seatbelt
systems
light on.
cannot, which would be problematic. It's almost like if you've been in an airplane and it enters the cloud, and it's doing this, but if you could see through the windows, you'd see these sparks of lightning. You'd see a Leviathan go in a huge stream of angelic white light cross and a swarm and doing this. Meanwhile, she is going to have to navigate through this.
Can't she go above
100
that a little
million
bit though?
Leviathans
If
coming
the
out.
entire thing has been lowered.
Then she'd be out of the protection. She has to go through it.
Yeah, but right.
Can't
skim
she
right at
skim the top?
She's where she
So
needs to be.
we'll see what she
The
does.
foam of
Do we have anything that can help her?
Yes, my
Yeah.
face.
I mean, she rolled well, but
Oh, good.
what do you mean?
She doesn't need
What-
help.
what
I
was-
was just pondering to the group.
I'm
Try and
actually
move the
technically,
lightning away.
I'm officially a master navigator. And I can link to the ship to help her navigate.
I will let you use some of that to enhance
The ship's,
not her piloting, but her
the
instrument.
ship's ability.
Fair enough. The instrumentation on the
Yeah.
ship.
The worst.
I'll give you a small
What?
bonus.
That face.
I now need to roll for the two groups fighting.
Do I not roll?
You do not. Wow, that's extremely interesting. Both the Swarm and the Leviathans each rolled 9s.
Yeet.
We're at
However, the
stalemate.
Leviathans have more bonus, so they're going to win, but it's going to be, what do I Pyrrhic victories?
Pyrrhic.
Pyrrhic?
Yeah.
Pyrrhic? Or
Pyrrhic or
Pyrrhic?
Pyrrhic.
With an F or a PH?
Pyrrhic.
P-Y. It's
Pyrrhic.
pure what? P-Y.
Yeah, I know how to spell it. I just want to know how to pronounce it.
Pyrrhic.
Okay, anyway.
I think it's P. Is it P?
Pyrex.
So if this huge atmospheric system that's building didn't exist, you would see, like, I kind of want time to slow. Like, your ship was moving at 1 billion miles an hour, but like, let's pretend it's like moving like this. Like, you would see Leviathan, you'd see like light, almost like this dazzling fireworks display of weaponry, and the swarm like colliding, and like just all these explosions, and Rana's like like moving the ship in and around that in like real time. It is just absolute cacophony of combat, and like just thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of explosions as there's just like this reckoning in the middle of this storm. But ultimately, the swarm is defeated, but Rana is able to breach the clouds, and before you is the Colossus in its glory. But you are now within striking distance of the Colossus. I would say of the 100 million Leviathans, probably between you straight up took out 20 to 30 million by kamikazing the swarm against them.
Damn.
Right?
That's
And they're going to be delayed by a little bit behind you, right?
So is the rest of the Leviathan army still in that cloud?
No. They certainly kept some in reserve, but you no longer have to dodge that many, which will be it's technically not a bonus to Rana's roll. It just means she doesn't have to roll as high for this next phase.
Right.
So you come out of the cloud, and again, think of the Colossus as like this tall, and there's the witch floating in midair. I think you said earlier, like, she's at a 15 out of 10 anger, and she doesn't care about the atmosphere, any conduits. She has formed, I'm not entirely sure how lightning works, but I believe it's the attraction between, positive and negative charges in various areas. I may be wrong. Scientists don't hate me, but let's say for the sake of argument, it's something close enough to that, where she has formed a solid, constant beam of lightning that's connecting her to the surface of Mars, to the upper atmosphere, and she's living in it. And she sees you guys come through, and with every last ounce of her being, channels that beam in a concentrated arc at you as you
I have a
emerge.
question.
I'm listening.
Can I
Redeflect it like a lightning bender.
can I put myself in the body of a nearby Leviathan to get in the way of that blast?
They're going to get evaporated. They won't do anything.
So it wouldn't potentially take some damage.
If you
off
put
of it?
like 10 million of them, it might
Oh.
take some of it
Oh
off.
jeez. Okay.
Just let's
Like,
stand behind a
this
bunch of
is-
Leviathans.
Let's see where he's going
I'm
with
so
this.
ready.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, like, the basis of my power is to eradicate death in its, like, truest form. Is it possible if I focus really hard on, like, creating some sort of, like, essentially attaching that power to the ship itself? Like, because the ship represents our life currently, can I
That's
convince
classic.
myself to do that? Do I have the ability to try?
First of all, I admire the question. I appreciate the question very much.
Eradicating death. The ship can't die.
In Jared/Lex's words, what a justification.
+2, bro.
I'd say +2 on that one.
What a justification. In terms of a shield
right
of
here in the rule
anti-death surrounding the
Smart,
ship,
clever, or wise.
All of them.
It's a little OP.
Absolutely all of them.
I would say that, it's been less than 48 hours since you have touched the
That's a fair point.
virtually unlimited potential energy. Depending on how the rest of this episode goes, you may find out more about what the limits or lack thereof of potential energy and the firewall, and the nature of how it relates to the science of the universe. For right now, you can not do that, but I'm not explicitly saying it's impossible either.
Okay.
You can't not do it.
Okay.
It's just not.
Then,
Not an option.
because this is me going back a little bit, but because right next to Rana in the seat would be our number 2 seat, which is currently empty, unfortunately, due to a passing of our friend, I probably would be sitting in that seat.
Okay.
I am going to wrap myself around Rana so that no matter what, the two of us will survive. Because I'm only sitting next to her. So it's the only person I can do that with.
Okay. No problem.
I'm gonna redirect that lightning bolt.
Okay.
I'll do
Lightning bend.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I'm gonna roll nature.
Power!
Not gonna look. I rolled 2 6s again, but not at the same time.
Okay.
So then, okay.
That's 12 for the nature roll, and then surviving, I feel like, is a big part of all of this. So, survivalist.
Wait, hold on.
I can start a fire
I'd say that's justified.
in the woods, and I can also.
I don't want to
Never
die.
mind.
I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do.
18.
I'm not going to give you survival, but I will give you an intrinsic advantage for controlling the vast majority of the atmosphere.
Can I also take wild? I have a lot for this.
I'm not going to give her a talent bonus. Whoops. I'm not going to give her a talent bonus.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to give her her intrinsic skill in.
Oh, we're just gonna
the
roll
fireball.
at each other. I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
it. Let's do it. Come at me.
What'd you roll?
2
you rolled-
6s.
Also 2 6s.
True.
No, I see a 5.
Don't look
She
at it.
rolled a 9. So I'm trying to decide what the net difference between her skill bonus and what you did, but you have the bonus of the atmosphere win. Man, that comes in so handy.
Woo!
I say her 9 would have beat you, but until then, which means you probably beat her by 1 or 2. Wow, that's ridiculous. That is
Hey, we're the best.
Can the
Around.
redirect take out a few more?
Yeah. Where's
Did I
it
just
going?
redirect
it would take
into
out
the
her.
Colossus?
Let's not get greedy about
So-
this. Like,
Back
that was
at her.
awesome.
Actually, I'm gonna roll for Rana really quick. Rana the greatest, 12. Okay, so in real time, again, this is very slow. It's like intra-second stuff. The Kaizen comes out of your cloud. The bolt is basically already here. Rana turns. It comes right through the bridge because you basically, Rana was going to avoid it successfully. She successfully avoided it, but you noticed it and pulled it toward you because you realized that if it had like arced and exploded, no matter how much we would have evaded, it would have potentially disabled our ship. So you pulled it to you. So you're sitting in your science station in a bolt of lightning that is like, I mean, it's
It's
I
a
don't-
bolt of
if you guys
lightning.
well, no, but it's
like
significantly
20
larger.
bolts of
So
lightning.
it's like twice, like your table, thick in a circle.
This canvas.
Yeah, it blasts through the bridge and smacks right into your body.
You're now the Flash.
Your body channels it. Your heart would have literally exploded,
Yeah.
but somehow you won again, which again mathematically I can't say this enough. How unlikely that is.
Did we or did we not have 2 20s last game? So
So you can't blame me that they're audience. Please don't blame me that they're succeeding or say I'm too easy. Like I will prove this mathematically. That should not have happened, but it did. So I must reward it. So you are able to very temporarily, like again, intrasecond, house it into your body and redirect it almost like a mirror that has absorbed it. And now it goes directly back at her. Now she has to do the exact same thing with her level of roll. So she has to beat herself. Oh, it fails! She rolled an 8! Are you kidding me? Yes! What?
Wow.
This game is ridiculous. What a story.
What a story.
I was
You
gonna
guys
take
are-
out the witch.
I
still
thought
lost
for
the real
sure,
proof.
I was like, in my head, 90% chance you die this fight if you try to take her one-on-one. 90%. Wow, that is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
How's
I'm
she-
a
what
little-
does
how's she
that
doing
mean,
it?
Ian?
I'm sorry?
What does it mean for her?
I'm pure chaos.
Show
So again, like you pull it into yourself, and redirect it out. So now there's a huge hole in your bridge.
Yeah.
Sorry
I
about
would
that,
say
guys.
all of you take at least 3 or 4 damage just
Sorry
by
about that,
being in
guys.
proximity
Incorrect.
to
Rana
that.
and I don't
I'm
take
good.
any damage.
Correct, actually.
I
Ben,
don't
is that
think I
accurate?
take any
Well
damage
played.
either,
I don't
right?
take any damage.
Could you just like
I
run by
don't
me
take
with
any
all
damage
this?
either.
I don't
You
know.
don't think
no,
he gave
you
it?
do, and then it heals
Yeah.
because it
Right.
reconstitutes.
Yeah.
And you don't have a physical body. Okay, fine. Just you and your wife and
He's at the
13.
gym
I
still.
should
I
have my
thought he
legs.
was at the gym.
Huh?
Was he on the bridge?
No, he has
I was
to
on
be,
the bridge.
He has to be
You're,
sitting
you're
down.
not lifting through this, dude. Although that would be metal. That would be very metal. So you take, I mean,
I brought
certainly better than the alternative.
Benching at the same time.
You all take
Hey,
damage.
keep it still up there.
no pain, no gain, boys.
Look at these
Your wife's like spotting you. All right.
So
Oh God.
the witch, who is almost the personification of how warped that we can become when our hatred and our dark side. And I'm actually a person who believes that there should be a balance between light and dark, because most people misinterpret a lot what the dark side is, which is why I think you should always be in the side of the gray, but that's neither here nor there.
The E in gray.
It just so happens to coincide.
Senor Grey.
In any event, she has so precipitously fallen that she objectively did not expect that what just happened, similar to me. So she is not as ready as she otherwise would or should have
I
been.
warned her too.
So if she can't handle it, she is gonna pretty much evaporate.
Oh my god.
So like she is, her matter
But she just
is,
rolls
is
and
sent,
not
sent
evaporates?
to the beyond. Like she just straight up dies. Like you can't, a human being even.
Wait, so she killed the witch?
Yeah.
One shot, one kill. What's the deal?
The witch is dead. Long live
so
the witch.
let's go over the logic so that no one can criticize. She puts her entire being into one shot, similar to what she did the tower. Nora took it, redirected it, which means that the exact same power is going to hit her, and she failed to stop it because it's a 1-to-1. So
Oh, what a world that
It's
a little
game.
girl
She
like
killed
you
herself.
could destroy her
It was
beautiful
her
which is
wicked
which
power.
I think is a beautiful piece of symbolism for somebody like the witch who is so
down.
fallen and you know let
Hubris.
herself stew in hate for
Your
50
overconfidence will be
years.
your downfall.
So she like
Hubris.
if you know one of the few people that can see this in real time is Asima.
analogous,
So
sir.
you see, you know, molecule by molecule, cell by cell, atom by atom, you know, her returning into, you know, basically returning herself to the firewall, right? And wherever she is, you know, I personally hope she's at peace. But
With access
she
to the
is
firewall, can we still like steal her
Straight
as
to
a part
hell.
of the firewall?
maybe, but not right now. But that is possible, depending.
Not in the heat
again,
of battle.
this is a very interesting question because you could ask it the same thing about Marguerite. In my opinion, you want to be
Marguerite.
perfectly honest. The way that I interpret the immortal soul is it does not go to the firewall.
Okay.
In my opinion, Marguerite is not Marguerite. It is his interpretation of Marguerite. But you could also
Fair.
say that, that
Hey.
means she's still alive.
Shut up, Ian.
It's his soul projecting her.
Exactly. That was incredible. So now your ship. So I would say there's
Now we have a hole in
probably
the ship.
probably
But
about
we beat the wolf and the
20,
witch.
maybe
Correct.
30
Now we just have
million
Grandpa to go.
Leviathans that are surrounding the
Let's go murder
Colossus,
an
and
old
now this is pretty much straight up to Rana to get us in position. If she is successful, all of you are going to have to roll.
Can I patch
thing
the
my
ship
girl
using that
is-
technology that patches it?
Ooh.
Can we do a
Was
joint
it the
roll using my
nanotechnology?
shield
The
technology?
thing that instantly.
It's too big to patch in like 10 seconds,
Okay.
which is what you have.
But
maybe
you could
less.
put a shield over the
yeah,
hole.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Again,
I mean, is there any point to me trying to put a shield there, or should I still just focus on like trying to?
you haven't,
Select.
because you've been successful at every stage, had to stop the ship from being hit.
Okay.
Because Rana rolled too well, and then both of your distractions were ultimately successful.
Yep.
Probably should have gone 0-3 there. It's pretty frustrating, but it's part of the game. I must honor it. So now they're going to attack you again. If they hit you,
Then I have to roll.
yep,
Yep.
then you have no cloud cover, no distraction.
Correct.
Right.
If the Colossus looks like it's going to do anything, I have a possible plan.
Okay.
Okay. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah.
Just in case I'm about to do something?
The EMP, like when I created the EMP dart, I
Can you imagine like this little dart takes out Everest? Gotcha!
no,
Everest was shut down.
I'm pretty sure with the creation of the dart, I rolled a 20, and you also let me have an EMP program. So if the Colossus goes to do anything, I want to try and like install that program just into the heart of the Colossus,
How would you get there?
Me.
hacking through it.
Okay.
Just like regular old hacking. Don't need any like
All right.
superpower.
Phase 3.
Let's do this.
We got the Mars Neuralink,
That's true.
and you just put
Who
it
should
in
roll first? Rana or the bad guys? What do you guys
Bad
feel?
guys.
Oh,
Bad
bad
guys.
guys.
Same
for
time.
sure, bad guys.
Uh-oh, is that a mistake? Let's find out. It was not a mistake, although they did roll a 9.
Boop.
And my baby.
Shing! Mohawk's out.
I can't stress this enough how much
The greatest.
she is the greatest.
What did she
of all.
do?
She rolled an 11.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Love Rana.
I'm so glad these tables are in the way because I'm.
When I was like, thinking about this
Leaning
episode
forward
and
up.
doing my planning, I was like, I better kickflip this if she succeeds. I don't want
You
to
have
damage
to
the
now.
new studio.
You have to.
I hope not, or else I'll get in trouble. So,
Getting in trouble is not real.
so again, we're gonna
We're on
zoom
Mars right
time.
now.
We're gonna
No,
zoom
you
time
getting
back
trouble.
in really quick. So it's gonna go a lot slower. So, all of the Leviathans, like after the witch kind of is less than turned to dust. Dust even has matter. Her matter doesn't exist. So they fly at you. There is a hole in the hull, so your shield is all that's stopping air coming in and blowing you guys off, or actually probably sucking out all the oxygen. It'd be probably really hard to breathe, but your
Yeah,
shield.
because we're in our seatbelts, so we'd just not be able to breathe.
You're afraid you're gonna get sick.
No, but the atmosphere is still, or because of the swarm
Well, think about it.
is
If you're a
destroyed.
jet fighter pilot, they wear this. Can you
Yeah,
imagine
we
if there
have
wasn't
the
anything there?
things that can instantly make it.
Yeah, the little things
suits.
pop down from the ceiling.
No,
the
no,
seatbelt
no.
sign is on.
Everyone on this crew has that suit. It's not a predator suit, but
I know
instantly.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But just just for the sake of
What happens next?
Yes, that's fair.
Indeed.
Big ol'
Kaizen
hole in
is
the
coming. They're gonna come. She wins slightly, but there has to be some. So again, in real time, it's like all these lights coming, and she's like twisting and going up and moving down, and like this elegant dance with death almost that she's piloting with the ship.
Dancing through the raindrops.
Leaf on the wind.
So Asima,
Yes.
I need you to roll 3 times
Okay.
because it's gonna be 1, 2.
All combat
This
weapon.
is all
or, like,
combat, and then using
ba-
your
battlefield tactics.
No, this is just using your force potential. Force potential. The hell? I'm like thinking of your story because I was writing the other day.
The firewall.
Firewall. Sorry. Yeah.
So but I would still be able to add talent to it, right? Or like, does that not really?
Again, it's more. It's a different scale of success
Okay.
than a traditional skill. So you're not adding anything to it.
Okay, so just straight combat.
Yep.
Okay. 6 for the first roll.
6 total.
Yeah.
Okay. I need 2 more of those.
11 for the second.
She's not adding anything to it. You said?
I am.
Oh.
And 10 for the third.
Nice.
Okay. So, you're trying to like throw shields onto the ship. So Rana does as good a piloting job as we've ever seen, going through millions of these beams and just finding these little holes. The first beam comes back, so if the ship is flying away, it cuts near the rear of the ship and cuts your med bay. It puts like a 10, 15 meter deep cut into the med bay, so it's cut in two and a bunch of your equipment falls out. So basically there's now a huge hole missing in the back of your ship.
Well,
I
guess
don't believe anybody
need
was
any
there,
Stuff. No.
right?
No, we're all on the
so-
bridge.
No.
The second one comes up, cuts here, and that one was the one that one was going to hit the bridge because Rana missed that a little bit, but you rolled an 11 to their 10. So basically, with every ounce of your being, you stopped the bridge from being basically cut in half and like going down the ship because 1,000 of them at once just like try to combine it.
What a
You're able to
spectacle.
stop that one, and then as you're moving, they do succeed in the third one. And basically, remember how we said this was designed in Canada, the ship, and it's shaped like a leaf. So basically, there is a bulk, but the entire front of the ship is basically severed off. So basically, there's nothing left. So it's
Not
all
aerodynamic
missing
anymore.
the hull. So they are able to successfully cut it like that. So now your ship, they didn't get the propulsion, they didn't get the bridge, but your ship is.
Not
There's no defense. There's literally nothing there.
There's no walls?
There's no it's cut off. Like think if you just cut it like literally. So now
Shame.
If we're sitting here,
Yes.
they cut us off at the neck.
Without
Yeah,
Zima's
exactly.
power, our ship would be
So it
destroyed.
really is like
She needs
the
to
Enterprise
not
crashing on the planet.
lose her focus.
What's that?
It's the Enterprise crashing on the planet. It's fucking epic.
Yeah.
So what do you want us to do?
So you survived the fight. So now it's the last roll. They can't stop you from getting there because Rana was successful. So now it's channeling.
Ladies and gentlemen, good luck. Except
So-
for
Now, because we're all
Hold
here,
hands.
does that mean that we can use 13 to additionally channel? That means we have 7 instead of 6.
That's true.
Yeah. So what I decided to do is that collectively we have to roll over a certain number that I'm not going to tell you.
Great.
I'm going to go one by one, and then you will be able to use 13 because you didn't die, or were seriously put out and you didn't die. Like
So,
again, there's a lot of
This is a
points.
straight 2d6, nothing added.
Yeah, it's more fun that way.
Okay.
Since you have a set number, should I also roll 2d6 and not d20s?
Ideally, yeah. If you don't mind, I mean, I could probably convert it. It'd just be easier for math.
Okay.
Does anyone, want to go left to right?
Who's
You guys
rolling for
care?
13? You?
Yeah, unless
All
you
right.
want it.
I'll
All
start.
Okay.
Left to right?
I rolled an 8.
2 and a 6.
Wow.
Come on, baby. A 1 and a 6 for 7.
10.
4 and a 6.
6.
10.
Is that cocked or is
No,
that's a
I
full-
can't tell from here.
Okay. 6.
13.
Come on, baby.
13!
8.
And Tanya can't roll.
What was the number we got?
I can't roll.
What about Piglet? Can he roll?
Oh, my boy.
I pull out Frank, my little spider robot that I haven't looked at
Rana
since
roll?
episode 1.
Wait,
Can't
can I
keep
use my
piloting.
chip?
Huh?
Can I use
Oh my god, I could use my chip.
I would say this is honorably chipless.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not. Wait, hold on. I have no honor.
You know what is fascinating about
Did
what
we
you
roll
guys
that
have done
hold
with
on,
this
hold
show?
on. Let's just listen.
What you guys have done that's fascinating with this show is
Ultimately fail.
no, there's still time left in this show.
Oh no.
It's just so honorable. There's been so many things where I feel like mathematically I've intentionally stacked the deck. This is just me like speaking to like the GM to players. I've intentionally stacked the deck. I mean, for the lowest roll, I was hoping for drama's sake someone would drop a 3 and you have to account. So really it should be over 7.5, right? Because 7 is the average. And it goes 8, 7, 10, 6, 10, 6, 8. And the 8 is a bonus, so it gets distributed amongst the rest.
So we
So
did.
you easily beat it. Like, it's not even close. You average like a 9.5. No, like a 9. Because of the 8, the whole
That's
his 8 is a
epic.
bonus.
That we averaged a 9.
Yeah,
Actually,
it
you know
is.
what's interesting? I'll add it up later, but you might have, actually, because the 8 gets distributed amongst the rest. Or else, like, if you had died, it wouldn't have been. So there's a lot of things that...
He
The
was
35 out of
really
36
expecting me to
I
die.
wanted you to.
Well, I thought you were going to do what you did. I knew that you were setting yourself up to die because if you hadn't rolled a 12, she would have straight up had the atmosphere, which means in the roll of the lightning, you would have done. I saw you doing what you
You would
did,
have been
and you would have just
exploded
gotten.
in
Your
front
heart
of
would have
us.
exploded in your chest. You would have been evaporated.
Yeah, but then I rolled
Permanently
2
scarred
12s.
everyone in
Yeah.
the
Then you
room.
rolled a 12, and I was like,
Oh God!
all
There's
right.
a
So the advantage, you
stain.
flipped the advantage of the entire fight. Okay, whatever. You were
Sorry.
successful. So again, with the Leviathan army, you are now past it, and it's almost like when you're beneath the surface of the water and you come up for air. That's the feeling that you all collectively have. Yes, the entire front of your ship has been completely removed from space and time and matter.
Gassed up.
So, obviously in the bridge there's an emergency field, and so your ship, maybe it's at a fraction of its power, but god dang, Rana's going to get us there. So then,
It's her power.
Obviously, Sita says, all right, it's time. Like, let's do this. And so, all of you are able to, in the moment, I'm just interpreting from these roles, all of you are in the moment are able to find a way to not be distracted by your situation. And you're able to, in many ways, pour your heart and soul into what it is. And so if you zoom out from the ship, the ship's coming in, it's basically at the knee level, and she's moving up, and this
That is impossible.
blade of pure potential energy. I mean, it's not literally shaped like a katana or a traditional longsword blade, but it's similar enough, right? To me, it almost looks like a feather, right? Just without kind of that effect. It's almost like it blooms out of the ship like a majestic eagle. And, Rana comes up, and the only thing that's going to happen is the Colossus is going to try and stop, but he would have to have rolled a 12 because she rolled a 12. I should have actually done that beforehand because he just rolled an 11. That scared me. It's like, he can't roll a 12. I shouldn't have made that assumption. He almost did. Well played.
He tries to, though.
Yeah, so James
Too
is
slow,
sitting...
Goomba.
Yeah. James is there with the wolf, in the heart of this most glorious human-made structure. And, Rana comes up, with the ship and slices down right actually through their bridge, just like what they were trying to do to you. And, the magnificent creature, being, entity, ship is cut in two. And actually, for an additional piece of added on the nose symbolism, you cut right between where they were both standing to sever them both. However, there is a huge energy just discharge, so like you cut, but it pushes out as you're going. And in that instant, you know that your grandfather is killed. However, the wolf is knocked unconscious and survives, and he is basically in a it's a suit that forces him to stay alive. He just for background, you'll I'm not saying you realize this in real time, but he turned his body into a iris, so that he could be a surrogate iris. Yeah, that one of his his power basically is. That's how he was helping facilitate the mission. So he falls, but that breaks, right? Because it had, in essence, already been broken. So now he is, with this Everest structure crumbling around him in this dust cloud that, blooms. Rana circles to avoid the cloud, and then ultimately it's just his body and, this,
Does the top half slide off the bottom half?
It's because there's so much pressure. It's almost like it's exploding in the middle. Not necessarily fire and flames, but more from an energy reaction perspective. And the Colossus cut into your grandfather, meeting the fate that he wanted for himself, and the wolf, unconscious in the sand, completely powerless. And
How did he survive, the wolf?
Because he had made this basically this physical structure for himself, similar to actually
The suit
Tani's
that Tani-
Juggernaut suit,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
actually not meant for offensive. It's meant for channeling.
Right.
But because he had been severed, he can't use it. But he technically survived
in
the
it.
But
fall.
is he buried underneath the rubble then?
So the rubble goes this way. He's almost like I see it almost. He falls out of the chest, like the heart falling out of the chest,
Gotcha,
more
gotcha.
symbolically, and just
The chest falls left and right. He falls forward.
Gotcha.
right. And so he's in the sand, and we're gonna say, we'll give you guys one last moment with him, sort of at the end here, and you can have one last conversation. But he's, in essence, like we talked about, rapidly aging. He's going to be dead in a matter of minutes, no matter what he does.
And this is who, the wolf?
The wolf.
Unless she touches
I was going to say, so it is.
I would wonder though, because
Oldie.
it's not so much that it's that he's been borrowing. His debt to the universe almost is so high from what he's been borrowing from the well. It's not like you're healing a wound, right? You're
But
trying to
technically
heal
you're not.
time. That's hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you give it an
Well, because
attempt.
the problem is that, like, the idea is to eradicate death. So it's not that I would stop his aging, I would just stop his ability to die, which is dark and probably not what he wants, but I could
That's
do
what
it.
he's been doing this whole time.
So what we're gonna do, just for the sake of the story and this last moment with the villain that you guys have been philosophically and literally butting heads with, I think in some ways, figuratively probably, we're gonna have you guys go to him in the sand, right? We're gonna have Rana park what's left at the front of the Kaizen.
It is a
And-
soft landing.
Yeah. And you guys go to his body, and he's lying in the sand, and he has taken off his mask. He's bleeding pretty heavily, and his face is rapidly aging as you approach. But he's not really aware of your presence. I'll let you guys initiate the conversation, but I would like this moment with him.
I'm sorry it had to come to this, but we wanted to inform your people that there was more than hate.
I think he would say, especially after what you did last time, he says, we are of the same mind, and in many ways we always were. We just had a different way of going about it. You know, he's coughing and he's moments away, and he says, but the fact of the matter is that you're the stewards of the future now, and that the consequences, good and bad, of the decisions that you've made here on this planet are now on your shoulders, not mine anymore.
I'm going to be wearing leather gloves, so I can't, like, I'm purposefully taking the power off for now. And I want to grab his hand and ask, is there anything you want your people to know? Do you want to say something to them? We have the ability to share a message, even record a message with Pig.
He is at the point where now he can't speak, but he hands you what appears to be an older looking, like Earth technology, a data chip. And without being able to say it, he's holding it up, like, you know, out of the sand, and his hand drops and, like, it falls on him and he passes away. So that's that.
I still think
I'm
we
cautious.
should
I don't trust it.
bury him.
This
Saoirse
man
will
tried
not
to kill me.
not
I
think it's appropriate.
refuse to bury him.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to do it. If anybody else would like to join my service, I will be having one. So your choice. However you would like to deal with your own moral ambiguity is your choice.
I will
I'm going to
grab the
quickly
shovel.
create just like a little shovel robot that just like just
we'll
comes out
use
of the bottom of my
Frank.
leg.
What
and
it-
then,
what it-
and then
Frank
Frank and
the
him
spider.
together.
What is my purpose? You shovel dirt. Oh my god.
So who's going to investigate the chip?
I'll do
I'll do that too.
Wow.
Okay, so it's just me. That's fine.
Wait, why can't we do the chip first and then the, like, does it have to
I
be?
think
just-
her intention is to do this now.
Okay,
Yes, I do
so-
not think that we should leave a dead body out in the sand. I will not do that.
Hot
Wait, you know
Martian
what?
sand.
Seriously, dear, how about we put him somewhere safe under the rubble? Because leviathans are falling from the sky right now, so it's not that safe to hold a funeral.
That is true, but not where your is. Actually, matter of fact, you know what's really interesting? You know the expression dropping like flies? Like if you were to spray and you see it, you see them impacting the sand, because now the nexus that's keeping them, they're just inertly falling from the sky. It's very literal, actually, what's happening. As a matter of fact, all over the planet, a lot of what we would consider like the military drones of this empire
all
Oh,
are
ran
collapsing everywhere. As a matter of fact, their day on Mars Prime just got worse.
So why don't you
Yeah.
just...
Wait, so like, are these military? Are these military drones like destroying buildings in this, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're falling out of the sky.
Oh, it's
so
probably complete
yes.
destruction.
What's happening?
Yeah, yeah. There's
Oh my god.
there's chaos on Mars Prime.
Wait, did they have any?
No, the city won't be
Hold on.
destroyed, but
Did they have any orbital? Did they have any orbital stations?
that's not military.
Okay,
They're
good.
not going to
Just
fall out.
Just
of it.
making
They're not
sure.
going to fall out of orbit, thank God.
Just making sure.
We gotta get out of here now.
they're
in
the
the midst of all the
They were
this,
they basically the ex-terraforming pods that they turn into the cloaking
my
for the
God.
planet.
in the midst of all this explosion and confusion, the moon blew up. How awful would that be?
Okay,
All right, so
Let's investigate the chip really quick.
Yes, yes.
So, Legs, Asima, I think you have the best electronics. The rest can help if that ends up being necessary, but by nature of what this is, it probably will not. So please
History
each.
of some sort?
Master.
Yeah,
hacker.
once they figure out what's on it,
Cool.
history might be required.
Oh, nice.
It's a 19 and a 5.
So, can I
19
add?
plus 6. 25.
UI mastery,
Yeah, UI master. Okay.
user interface, because this is an old chip
So 14.
25
on the D20.
on the
system.
D20s.
Still a lot,
Like,
though.
how?
I was gonna be like,
Justification plus 2 is a 27.
So
jeez.
immediately, Asima, you recognize
I rolled
this
a
from
19
some
on
of the
the 20.
courses that you used to teach. This is a data chip from what they sent in the second and third generation colonists of Mars Prime, right? And this is blatantly Earth technology. So you're able to pass it on to Legs, who's able to treat it with a degree of delicacy. So the data is much older and certainly less complicated. It's almost like us looking at a floppy disk, right? That's how you'd probably think about it. And
what?
it's literally
I haven't had a USB drive in ages.
it's literally just a map, and you convert it to a projection, and it is Olympus Mons, the tallest mountain on Mars, and there is a pathway inside the mountain, and for whatever reason, where the path ends, there is a marking much like what you see the shape of the iris as.
All right, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
Sound
Okay.
good?
So then we head to Olympus
not
Mons
quite.
after.
We don't.
After I was just after.
All right, so I'm not going to make you roll.
That's fine.
Tell me what you would like to do.
So first of all, I also have a question. Are we close to the body of his grandfather as well?
It was probably destroyed.
That would be my assumption.
eviscerated,
That was my
you'd say?
question. But I will be holding the service in memoriam of both of those people, just because otherwise.
But not the witch. But not the witch. Screw her, right?
Well, a raging ball of.
I mean, I
pray
think
for
we
the witch.
probably she can be included, but I'm not going to speak on her behalf. I don't know her well enough to do that. But I would be holding very similar to the previous service. But my background is like Irish Catholic, as much as I could do in the middle of the Mars desert, and I probably would ask that we all just take a moment to reflect on the general theme of why we're supposed to be here and what just happened.
Okay.
Because although this feels like a great success, I don't think that's how it's going to be perceived. And I think that it will behoove us to see this as what everyone else on this planet is going to see it as, which is a incredibly tragic death of some of the universe's greatest leaders.
We kind of just Pearl Harbor.
We're definitely gonna have to.
It's deeply traumatic no
Figure
matter
out the
what.
optics.
Even if philosophically you're convicted, I would say that for this society who's known nothing but their stewardship, which is what his last words were in some ways about, it will be deeply traumatic for their society, who has done nothing wrong other
Correct.
than happening to be, virtually almost all brought into this world by this group of three people.
Under the control of these three.
Yeah.
So I think it's an apropos message. I think it's an honorable and empathetic and compassionate one. So, with the help, obviously, of the excavators of Legs, you are able to put the wolf in his final resting place. As somebody who considered himself not someone from Earth but from Mars, perhaps it's exactly what he might have wanted.
I also will find like a pretty sizable boulder and quickly have Pig etch what would be a pseudo tombstone, and viewing it with the language that he used in his final words. there.
Understood.
Can we somehow affix one of the Trinity coins that we have to that?
Yeah, like their currency.
Yeah.
Why don't we just etch it into the stone?
Yeah, you can create a marking of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's
he
there.
has a barrel. You have a next step. So there's just one more scene, albeit a major one. The crew has received what they consider by their standards a crude map into the heart of Olympus Mons,
It's a USB
the tallest mountain on Mars, about 3 times the size of Mount Everest, which has been used as an approximation of a number of different scales today, hasn't it?
Mm.
So I'm going to say that the crew is not going to be shy about going to that location. Does anybody object to that?
Oh yeah, let's just do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Are we
It's,
flying
it's
to
either
it, or-
that or an awkward conversation with the populace of Mars. So
Strong agree.
Speaking
Really?
of
oh, there's still
awkward-
time for that.
Speaking of awkward conversations, how's my bracelet doing? Did I reconnect to the Eden machine back on Earth yet? Or am I still in a void? Because
There's nothing stopping
Yes.
okay,
There's nothing stopping you.
okay,
It took obviously, a little bit of time for the signal to get there, and it's not in real time.
yeah,
But we'll say several minutes after the battle, yes.
okay.
As we're flying there.
So you get in again, the scuffed up Kaizen, which is in serious need of repair, albeit it can still fly with Asima's help. And you fly to Olympus Mons. And obviously you thought the Colossus was big. This is the largest single contiguous thing in our solar system. So it's really damn big. There's really a lot of ways to describe it. It is awe-inspiring. And the map leads you almost like, again, I hate to use this reference, but it's kind of a meme at this point. But and I have a t-shirt that I got about this, but the Lonely Mountain and the Hobbit, and you see the map going into it. It's very similar to that on purpose because it's awesome. And the entrance is big enough for the ship to fly in.
Cool.
Sweet.
So you fly in and actually need probably some help from you guys because the front floodlights of the ship don't exist.
Right.
So, I'm sure you guys band together and illuminate.
I always have a pen light
Little
on me.
Piga.
Nora,
Has his
shoot
little
some lightning
flashlight
in
in
Right,
front.
and illuminate something big enough for the ship.
Yeah, I just start like blasting lightning bolts down a corridor. That's a great idea.
Bolt.
So, slowly but surely, Rana, using the map that you've uploaded, you have to go fairly slowly. So you're going like literally into the heart of the beast, so to speak. And eventually it opens up. And there is this truly massive empty space inside the heart of the mountain, and it looks old, so old, older than anything that you can really comprehend on Earth that's human made. But it's almost like the thing that's probably crossing all of your minds, almost like an ironworks that's been mothballed for an undetermined amount of time, but not machinery in that way. Very odd and foreign looking things. In the map, ultimately there's a landing site for your ship, and you guys step out, and there is a corridor which leads up a ramp into a room, and you can see at the back of the room, it's almost like a view screen that can see outside the mountain. It's almost like this was, whether it was a capital or a city, you're having a hard time piecing it together. But your scanners are going off, and there's DNA here, a lot of it actually, but none of it is legible by your scanners except for 3, and that is the human life forms that once were the wolf, the witch, and the colossus. They were here at one point in time, but a long time ago. So not really knowing what to do, you guys look around, go to the room, especially that view screen, which can somehow see through the solid rock of the mountain. And there is, what I'll say is that as you all enter, a figure materializes near the view screen, and all of you recognize it as she turns around from your mission briefings as the woman from the heart of the mountain on Earth, the one that instructed humanity to save the child. And she is, I believe the way that I described her is she is elderly, but her humanity is faded, is how I believe she was described.
Humanity is faded?
Yeah. And I think, especially Asima's intelligence reports had theorized that she was perhaps a cyborg, and now that you've been on Mars, that isn't terribly surprising. And obviously from the prologue that you all played, she was the one that, said Nora's trial and accidentally caused the disaster in Sao Paulo through her own curiosity. So she materializes near that screen, and she addresses all of you. And she says, "Thank you. I have gone by many names in my life, but you may refer to me as Mars."
Care to elaborate on that?
It's nice to meet you.
So that's a hell of a claim.
Well, we've already met, but nice to be introduced.
It's not a bad name, but there's probably some meaning behind that. I would love to hear it.
Have you been in touch with your
I
sister
think
lately?
if she was feeling sarcastic, which
Yes.
she'd probably say something like, "Well, human beings name this planet after a character in Greek myth, but that's not my actual name. But you may refer to me that way." But she probably won't say that. But
How's
yeah,
your
her
close-
response to that is
how's your
complicated.
close relative Earth doing?
Like, is that your name or more your title?
It is a truth. I am the embodiment of the planet that you are now on.
Just like
How?
Eden created the Eden machine,
Yep.
which is Earth. This is the same
You-
thing.
But
The
she's
Mars machine.
farther along.
You're assuming that though. Let's,
am.
Let's be certain here.
Do you know what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you tell us?
Let him. He was finishing his point.
So, all right. Are you an AI or a cyborg or some sort of network?
No.
Okay. What was your origin story?
Good.
How many
question.
issues
To
is
the
it?
point, yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
We have a few thousand years.
Okay.
50
If
billion.
that's what you ask,
Like, yeah, he's
It
literally
all started
like.
long
I want you to
ago.
roll history
Okay.
because your mind is about to be.
It started
created.
long ago when my mom met my dad.
My life.
Okay, so
Honey,
that
pretty
is
crazy.
a 9 plus 6, so 15.
So,
Plus,
Um,
just
She doesn't
between-
answer with you with words.
Of course not.
Instead, she floods your brain with hints of disparate memories,
Okay.
and you see a thriving society all throughout the planet
Of humans?
creatures that are
Oh, there it is.
explicitly not human.
Okay. What do they look like? Lizards.
For creative license, I would prefer not to describe the way that they look, so that I have the
That's for you,
freedom
the
to do.
audience, to
I have
decide.
the freedom to do that in the future.
I'm going to say lizards. Go on.
Mars looks truly different.
Yeah.
It looks like Earth does right now. It is a beautiful, wonderful place, and what you feel from these memories is that the person standing in front of you is omnipresent. So she is in equal parts the life and everything that you're seeing. She is a part of it intimately. So she's
similar to the Adun machine, in a way.
She's like the next
There's a
step
there's
in
a, there's a
evolution.
there's a consciousness.
so
That's
again,
what she's
think
in
of
a
it like
evolved
this.
form.
She's like the embodiment of
sure.
the Speed Force. If we're talking like
she's a god.
Sorry,
a
please,
god.
please go on.
She's a god.
So the Adun machine, it was really just a data streaming platform of unbelievable complexity until it started to evolve and birth a consciousness, which we know of as Earth. That is how the story goes. That is the official story.
Oh, good.
Is this similar to that?
Let's
you might
find.
find out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
please.
basically, what you feel is it's much more elegant. She is in many ways a byproduct of all life on the planet, as the planet itself. And
There's not much life on the planet, though.
No, there's not
That's
much
the
life
point.
in her either.
right. So when she answers your question with these memories, like that's my origin story is that I am. That is her answer.
what's your origin story? I am.
I have a migraine.
So,
And
Michaela, you were
writing
saying, do you know?
Yeah.
And she knows what you mean by that. You mean, do you know about what happened on Earth, right?
Yeah, like what happened on Earth, why Mars was exploded.
Right. So her answer to that is again in the form of experiences.
Love it.
There are still sort of some guiding thoughts that enter all of your head, not just yours, because. And she doesn't apologize to you, but she acknowledges that she is the one who rigged your trial on
It's
purpose.
okay. I kind of knew.
And what she says is, you have come here, to save the child, to save Mars Prime, to save the humans that are here. And there is another purpose for why you were brought here. And there is something that you need to know. You've discovered here that it was Adewale Idun who developed the devices and plans capable of setting off what you refer to as the Great Calamity. That is only half the truth. The truth is that he was coerced into doing that by Earth itself in order to save itself. And I know that because I am guilty of the same crime.
Oh no.
So you talked through the Trinity as Earth talked through Idun.
You're a similar being to it, and you're seeing the cycle repeat itself of your own life.
That's right. The
So
Trinity,
You're responsible for the death of Mars's original civilization?
when you say that, you feel an almost incomprehensible sadness and regret, right? Now, she knows how Earth felt. Like, Earth was cutting off a gangrenous limb because she was guilty of that. But where Earth managed to recover, all life on Mars did not. So that is what you feel in response to that.
So you led us here to learn that, as well as to save Mars Prime.
That's right.
Man makes plans and the gods laugh.
I am the one who gave the iris to the three people that you know of as the Trinity. After their society was destroyed and I could tell how it happened, I foolishly let my shame empower them, and that life got out of control. And while I am all the more powerful for it, it was not meant to be. And I could no longer intervene in their society, so human beings had to come save
So
human
the
beings.
Trinity, that's more recent history. We're talking potentially thousands, if not millions of years ago, when that other society, the alien civilization, she has been around that long. Her essence.
Well, what you see if you say that is, so the way that we understand the current science of Mars is that it is lifeless but for potential microbes, right? So it's literally desolate. So she exists, but her power and consciousness is proportionate to the amount of life, so it's just a blip. But when Adrian Pansino steps foot on the planet, right, for the first time, there's life there again. Human beings, somewhat ironically, are what gave her her consciousness back. And then, obviously, she's watching as we build Mars Prime. She's feeling as curiosity goes over. And by the way, episode 10 of the show, if you're watching episode 9 or in the audience, we're obviously living in the past, the Mars 2020 rover is going to land on the planet right about the same time that episode 10 is going to come out, right? The most advanced rover. So she's feeling them go over the planet. They're a life form in their own way as far as potential energy is concerned. So we're awakening her again, and she sees all this happen, but then when the bomb goes off, she knows exactly what happened. And she gives the iris to the Trinity, who come to her seeking help, almost subconsciously, because she lures them to do that. And then she also gave birth to Cetas as like a counterbalancing force purpose.
Why?
What is?
She,
No. Why the Trinity?
they weren't the Trinity. They were just people in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, desperate for any way to solve their petty disputes.
Yeah, they needed survival. And
Why didn't you influence them in a positive way?
I thought I
thought
was
she
with the
was.
iris.
Yeah.
The iris is the
And that's why
ability
she regrets it.
to create, to express yourself, and I could
So
sense that they had such
you
an
gave them
earnest desire.
They had free will, and you gave them basically unlimited
Infinite
power, and
power.
they chose bitterness and spite.
yeah,
I would say that's some of what they did, but they also built this beautiful
They built
society.
a utopia, but then also
Yeah,
It's
that's
not a
it.
utopia. That's
Well,
the
no, no.
opposite. Dystopia.
well,
I don't know about
That
that.
is-
I actually
Sorry,
think Mars
one
Prime's
man's
a really cool
dystopia
place.
is another
This-
man's utopia.
see, this was That's really human. That's really good.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
She felt shame, and I think she didn't do the right thing. She gave them a power they weren't ready for. They built what they did, and they were about to go out of control.
She
and
thought
they were
they
about
had
to
good
invade
intentions.
Earth, so she brought you back.
Did she have any influence on Earth and the Adun machine, anything like that? That's completely separate.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible that a human being was able to do something like that.
But so does she
Wow.
have?
Yeah, so she's
Does she
she's
have power
basically-
over the iris?
The iris was invented when the major analogous human civilization existed on her planet and has thus become a relic of that ancient past.
So
So she did not create it.
So she's
That's
basically
a
a god
much
that
more
can't tell the
complicated
future.
story. But I don't think she technically built it with her two hands because her two hands didn't really exist.
she's not cybernetic. She's not
This body is, but her consciousness
is literally made up of probably the souls and history and all of millions of years and that entire civilization.
billions. I mean, how long is Mars?
Right,
Mars
right.
is a 3.5 billion year old
Right.
planet, right?
So,
So-
she's just the culmination of all that.
She's the She's the consciousness of the life on the planet.
Wow.
So let me ask this in character. What is this place?
This was one of the major cities of the society that used to exist on this planet, and what you see around you are relics of their achievements that you could reasonably argue that I destroyed.
And what do you want us to do now?
It's not for me to tell you what to do. My days of meddling are over.
I would look at her, and I don't want to copy the IP of Star Trek, but this is totally apropos.
Okay.
There's basically no punishment in our laws to fit the scope of your crime.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Your
well,
crime,
he's the one who Kevin Uxbridged his wife. I didn't even
Right.
create that. He doesn't even know what that reference
right?
is.
No, but I'm talking to the woman.
Right.
I don't know what that reference is.
I know. I just
It's
like.
actually
watch-
there's an
There's
Okay,
no-
we'll talk
there's-
about it later.
There's
Yeah.
no way. There's nothing we can do to punish you for the tremendous amount of destruction that you have caused.
That's
She
not true.
spent
Well,
think
decades,
she's
if not centuries, punishing
Let me-
herself.
let me-
Oh,
let me-
that's also not
Let me
true.
ask.
Well,
let me
I'm
ask
just
this.
saying it out loud in character. You
No,
can say whatever you want.
I agree.
That's what I say.
Let me ask you this.
You also don't have the power to do so. Even
That's what I'm saying. We don't have the power. Or
me-
there's nothing I
before-
can do.
let me-
But to your question, what should we do? I'll answer it, then I'll let you go. Her ethos is my meddling days are over.
Okay.
Right. However, my last gift to you is the truth about what Earth did. Earth saw a trajectory of life on its planet netting out to zero, and in an effort to save itself,
Do you have any
caused
proof?
mass loss of life.
Do you have any proof of this? I don't disbelieve you after all we've seen, but
I mean, all her
I need to
entire
know.
her entire perspective is I'm guilty of the same crime. I know it when I see it. Now, does she have proof? She might have it because she was on Earth collecting it, but I think it's just she knows. You don't have to believe her, but she is
no,
1,000%.
he's like, how do
convicted.
we? If I'm convinced either way, how am I going to convince other people?
Yeah.
I think your
Besides a
your battle
great
isn't with other people.
performance check.
Yeah, your battle isn't with other people. When you go home, I think you're going to have a heart to heart.
I think 13. If I'm embodying his character, I'd be throwing up, dude. This is a total mind f to my character.
Yep.
We just fought a robot the size of
No, this
Mount
is way
Everest.
beyond that.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
just because of what
Yeah, fair enough.
his
Aliens.
history,
Yeah.
he's definitely vomiting. That's pretty disturbing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the main reasons why I think, as much as I love this show and this story, it's part of it is just really sad because
Go on.
it's a planet who honestly thought that it didn't have a choice, but ultimately rolled the dice and lost, right? And meanwhile, you have its neighbor who rolled the dice and won, but at what cost? And now you look face to face with that, and I think that for me is just really sad. It's just really bittersweet, right? Just, it is what it is.
At the risk of upsetting Marcus at 13 more, I would like to ask, just for my own curiosity, was the civilization before aware of Earth and humanity? Like, did you see our origins?
Roll for persuade, because she would consider that real answer to that meddling if she told you really anything of substance about the other society.
The last grift was The last grift.
It's a little
Probably
too
like
focused.
before humanity.
Here's the thing: if you brought us here to have us experience, you at least owe us the answer, even if that's the last answer you will ever give.
I got a 12.
Total.
Total, yeah.
And your question, sorry, repeat your question. I want to be sure I answer it right.
Were you aware of our origins?
Okay.
And what were they?
Duh.
Yeah. We're going deep, audience. We're going deep here. Lore.
All she's going to say is that humanity wasn't even in the twinkle of the universe's eye when the civilization existed.
We're not going that deep, audience.
Yeah, so Saoirse is like losing it at this point. Really losing it. Because remember, 5 minutes ago we just held a Catholic mass. So I don't like this answer at all.
This
Okay.
doesn't disprove that.
I don't know. I'm 15 and mad.
Fair.
So was
Yeah,
I.
I think
Raging
she's
Fair.
gonna like turn around and just pull one of the push a bunch of relics off of a table and like scream her lungs out, like hot tears falling on her face. Like, why take this moral high ground to say, I'm not going to meddle any further? In the first place, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. That you brought us here, and now you decide you're not going to meddle, as if us being here isn't meddling in the first place. Also, you are essentially telling me right now that there are godlike things, entities, people, whatever, it doesn't really matter, I guess, existent in the world, and somehow they can make these overarching decisions about the deaths of billions and ripping the fabric of societies apart just because they think that's the right thing to do. Yet, we get to this point, a turning point for an entire society of people, 2 societies of people, actually, and now you get to decide what to meddle in and what not to meddle in. The audacity that you have to bring us here in front of you and do your dirty work with these people who came to you for help, and then you bring us along as some hired assassins, then to tell us that you're not going to meddle and not give us the answers that you don't want to share because you think somehow that could be more harmful than what you've done, is so preposterous. I can't even listen to it. And then I'm going to walk out.
Fair
Can you
enough.
just
Holy
for
crap.
my own sake, roll that?
4.
Okay.
Unfazed completely.
Yeah, I mean, she's not going to answer you, but I would say just, as an answer that's not an answer, her perspective and her term of life is so utterly beyond human understanding. You certainly can't describe her as malevolent by any stretch, and I feel like it's like a planet is gun shy because they have meddled too often, and now they are going perhaps too far the other way. And yes, she did give them the iris out of benevolence, but she saw inevitably that these folks were going to use it to attack another planet. So she didn't necessarily have the power to stop that, right?
Why not?
That's my point. I think that's
Because
a little
I
bit.
think the main thing is with the iris, these folks are controlling a major part of the power on the planet, and there's not enough life on the planet to give her the power to override what they're doing. So it's not like she could just take control of the atmosphere or cause an earthquake, perhaps like she used to in the past, but there's a lot of speculation. Again, her lifespan is billions. You're 15. Like, you're less than
We're definitely
a
under that
millionth of
assumption.
a second in her
Blowing my mind.
lifespan.
So Arnold,
Unfortunately.
Arnold's going to nod to her, and he's going to... So, the last time you harmed someone, you ended a civilization.
All life on the planet, yeah.
And the last time you tried to help someone, they ended up trying to genocide an entire planet.
That's right.
I do not condone some of your decisions, but I understand, or at least as much as anyone can, that hesitance to act. You're as much as powerful as you are, as old and ancient as you are. There's something not. You're more human than you should be. You're more of a Zeus or a Hera than
Or
a
a
Catholic
Mars.
god. You have your hubris and mistakes.
I'm a byproduct of the life on the planet, and there's mostly humans on the planet, or things created by humans. So naturally, I'm going to be influenced, and that's
Well,
why
Even
I would advise
even
you.
before that,
The
though.
previous civilization weren't humans.
Yeah, and she
Well,
was she was mostly affected, and her power and her constitution was the life on the planet at the time.
Scared that the Earth is going to do what Mars did in the past.
It already did. It just happened to luck out, and there's no guarantee that it won't in the future because
That
it's
it
already
won't.
taken this action.
Again,
So
correct.
now I'm simply with the truth empowering you to make a decision about what the Earth can and can't
Right,
do.
and we are the physical, tangible effect that we have on both of these worlds at this point.
That's right.
But instead of not meddling, on Earth, we just discovered the ability, within the recent, decade, to speak with the actual planet itself. Maybe it's a ploy used by Adun. We have to really research that and his motives. But instead of not meddling whatsoever, you could take the route of actually helping,
Did you influence Adun directly?
not trying to take your
She
own
has
actions.
nothing to do with what happened on Earth.
Instead of trying to take your own actions and either helping or hurting, help us and help them influence their decisions, but ultimately let them make their own decisions.
How much
So
is
they're
that? How
in
much of that?
conflict, and she'll help you get home alive and quickly.
Yeah. So
I have a question.
But she's not going to.
What about
Um,
Mars?
Could we connect her and Adun?
Right.
I want to
She
ask.
can speak with the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to help us.
So
I'm not there. but
what is on Earth?
I'm not going to speak.
You said that you were in direct conflict with us. I thought that's what you said. I'm sorry, I got confused. There was a lot of talking.
That's right.
There was a
She's
lot
like
of questions.
fangirling over Mars right now.
oh my God.
Use your bracelet to let her talk to her.
Do you come with a bracelet?
She would
So
refuse.
I want to ask her, when you were alive, your species was alive, whatever. Obviously, you guys were way more advanced than we were, and we are at this moment in our evolution.
That's right.
The machine we have built, you say that it influenced Adun.
No,
Okay,
because it happened before the machine existed.
exactly. So why did Adun build what he built?
The Earth coerced him to do that, and it also simultaneously planted the idea of the machine to basically give itself a microphone. It planted the seeds of it sawed off its gangrenous limb in order to heal the rest of the body.
So,
It used Adun as a vessel for both the destruction and healing of the planet.
but Adun's the one that's going to take the heat for this. You can't blame a whole planet.
You can,
Or you can and then take its microphone away.
So what we're gonna
That
do
is
is we
part
get
of
But we
the
back.
still have
choice.
to live on it.
We get back.
You're right, but we don't have to.
Now, here's what we do.
Uh,
We take the fight to Earth. We go right there. We get a bunch of straws. We start throwing them in the ocean.
Perfect.
Exactly.
That's it.
Your choices should be plain,
Hashtag kill Ultra.
right?
Well, it's not though, because we have one episode after this, and we have 2 planets here. We have Mars that's
No.
almost irrevocably screwed up
Yep.
and in a state of turmoil. We also have Earth, where we have a leader who is clearly not all there. in
Okay,
my
I mean, I
opinion.
wouldn't go there.
Huh?
You're still
if that's in
Team
character,
Adun
my
after
character's
all
going to
this?
snap at you.
No, I'm just talking out loud, but
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Then I didn't mean to snap at you.
that's all right.
Apologize.
Right. So you can't solve all of Mars's problems, but you have
But
to.
we
do
can't
is-
leave it like this.
Right.
No.
We have to do something
You know what?
before we
Let's-
go.
With
Okay.
what? Our broken ship?
No, that's what I'm saying. We have the power of this resource in front of us.
That's what I'm saying.
She can help us. It can help us. At least alleviate some of the agony that they're probably experiencing, right?
Yeah.
So-
Her saying that she's not going
That's
to
what I'm
let
asking
this
her.
society
That's in
die
character. How-
is crap.
Before we go, we need your help to
Fix
to
them.
ease the suffering of.
What do you
these people.
suggest?
You kidding me? You're billions of years old. What do
I
you suggest?
strongly agree.
Again, she would ask you that because she doesn't want to meddle.
Hold
so
on,
if you
hold on.
empower her with a
Can
reason,
you
All right. So what
make
if
them not feel so angry? Can you heal their people? Can you?
I think there's
let's do something more practical. Let's not try to go for the metaphysical here because I don't have enough aspirin for that. What we're going to do is perhaps if we establish contact with Earth from here, set up communications again. You said you'd get us off. That's very helpful. But if we can get communications between Mars and Earth, we could set up relief efforts, actual tangible benefits from Earth. What to do with Earth and Adun themselves is complicated.
Before we even get to that, though, we do it's not just about setting up relief efforts because right now the entire population
There's
of
not gonna
Mars
be any relief
thinks that
efforts,
we
basically.
literally destroyed their leader. It's a perception thing that we also have to fix first.
It's
So that's
first of
why we
all, the
need to build up
technology for us to get to
communications
Mars
setups
I
is
think
super slow. The only reason we got here so fast was
she
because
said
of
she'd
her.
give you the technology.
I know that one
Here's-
trip back.
No, she's going to give you the
Oh,
technology.
permanently.
I think what we could try to do to help the people of Mars is to help have her help us show them the truth of not everything, but most of what's going on. The fact that their leaders meant well, they weren't perfect. We're not here to try and destroy them, and see if there's any way that we can give them true
Here's the
free
thing.
will. Or
I'm-
something.
them-
None of that has
Why are we
anything to
making
do with her.
decisions for planets? Why are we deciding we have the power, that she has the power? Why are we giving it to her?
We're not.
We
I
came,
just
we
want-
came here and made a change.
We did.
We're responsible for that change, and so we need to see it through.
We need to handle it
But it
responsibly.
wasn't we got coerced into the change itself.
You're
I
right,
understand that we
but
need
we're
to
in
deal
it.
with these consequences, but I feel like we should focus on getting home right now. Getting
Nor-
back to Earth.
I think that these people deserve to know.
Yeah.
My
The
character
issue-
has to come back.
why
There's
don't-
no
the
way she's
issue
gonna have to
is
stay out there for that long.
All right,
They
you will-
deserve to know what happened.
You will share the truth with these people. You will share the truth.
I will share the truth because I'm not going.
She definitely won't do that.
Not going back to
But she
Earth.
certainly won't
No,
stop
not
you
to
from
Earth.
Hold-
to
hold on.
Mars.
Well,
People on Mars.
I understand that. How about we give them the footage? They have plenty of screens there. We give them the footage of the build up to our mission. We send them everything Earth was talking about beforehand. A little bit of Earth's history, a little bit of what happened in the mountain, and then all the efforts we put forward into what we thought was a rescue effort.
Yeah, you can do that.
At the very least, that might show this. That might at least give them pause.
I think we should also give them access to Earth's history as a whole.
I
think
agree.
They should have the ability to make their own decisions about how they go forward with leadership. I do not think that we should make any of those decisions for them. But I also think we need to recognize that they now are without leadership, and they're going to need to create a new form of civilization, a
That's
democracy.
why
of some
They're-
kind.
they were heavily
As-
propagandized, if that's a word.
Right.
Right.
As long as the iris stays intact, I still have the ability to bridge the gap.
But as
And-
long as we make sure the red planet doesn't go red, we're
Are
fine.
you saying that you're going to keep the iris?
I'm just putting that into conversation because it wasn't proposed that we were gonna get rid of the iris.
Why don't we give it back to them?
I
Is it
was
gonna
gonna
work on Earth?
propose that we self-destruct this mountain, whatever we're in.
You don't have the power to
Why
blow up.
would
Well,
we
she can
blow
do
up
it.
Olympus Mons?
You're assuming she has more physical power than she actually has, because there's not nearly enough life yet on this planet to go back to where she used
We
to
can
be.
inhabit the planet, and she will get more powerful. But
Think
as
about
long as
it.
the
Most
iris,
of the things that live here are machines.
I'm assuming that you
Not
can't,
that they can't be are alive, but it's a different type of life
unless
force.
Mars is entirely destroyed, you're practically immortal.
Correct.
Does
That
the
sucks. That's
iris-
punishment enough, I would say.
Yeah,
Dis-
and she's also going to be very weak until it's going
I'd
to.
forget about punishments for a hot second. Here are your decisions. What to do before you leave, what you do with the iris,
Yep.
and what you're going to do when you get home.
I do want to know if the iris works on Earth. That's an
She
important.
doesn't know. She's
No
she-
idea.
She none of her people went to Earth with the iris.
Let's give the iris to the people of Mars.
Only because, from a historic perspective, obviously that proves
Look, let's give the natives guns.
right,
It'll be fine.
right, right, right.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, technically, in theory, the people of Mars, if I understand it, are they 100% blossomed, or not necessarily?
Is the Blossom Network still
The vast
on, or
majority
not?
of Mars are cybernetic life.
Yeah, how's Tane doing?
There's
he
only
still-
like 3 or 4 humans. Like
I don't want him to
There's no
take
humans.
you
They're all
our
robots.
dialogue options.
They're all cyborgs.
Not dialogue, like as like to
But
where
yeah.
blossoming is. Like, did that go away or anything?
There's no need to blossom a cyborg because they could be programmed remotely.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
So
there
the-
are.
although now
you had
without
mentioned
it-
that there were like hundreds of humans on Mars.
No, it was less than 100 left. This
So
is
like, how many are left?
20,
20.
30, real, and they're really old at this point.
Okay.
Are
A couple
they,
of them just died by ships falling on them.
Yes.
so.
Yes.
The old folks' home.
Oh no! That was the old folks' home. That was their.
All right, so I think at this point,
Yeah.
you have what you need. I think these are very complicated. I think, the burden of making the choice is on you. Before you leave, the last thing that she's going to give you is, it looks like a little device. She hands it to you, Legs, and says, this will get you home, but it will also get you many other places.
And we can come back and forth
What do you
just
call,
as easily
what
as
do you
we can
call
here.
this?
We can go to other planets.
It's what do you
That's
call
what
it?
she
I'm just messing with you.
It's
Jesus.
the ruby slippers.
Ah,
Is it called something? Drive maybe?
silver slippers. That's not in.
Um,
That's in the public domain, so
The
we can
Mars slippers.
Actually, part of it isn't. You have to be
This-
careful with Wizard of Oz.
use silver slippers.
Oh, Silver Slippers
a
is.
Was it really
Frank
silver?
L. Bomb.
I
Oh,
want
it
to try
was.
something. I want
She
to
loves Wizard of Oz, so I
before we
trust her.
potentially
That
get
is
rid of
public
this
use.
She's got a tattoo.
powers. I'm gonna try to put my essence into planet. It.
Yeah.
Why not?
Go ahead.
What do you want to do?
Be her.
I would like you to roll your dice.
Which ones? How many? Do I add anything?
Just roll 2 dice and see what happens. It's just such an absurd ask.
9.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Okay, you could have rolled 4 6s. I would have given you crap for that. I mean, you're a mortal life form. You
I
can't.
know.
There's nothing to take over. It's far
Not
too
take
vast.
over. I just want to put myself in like.
Are you
in
trying to
that essence.
sacrifice your energy to her? Like, because
Wait,
that
what do you-
might be
I mean,
slightly
What are you
different.
trying to do?
It feels like you're taking narcotics, and you are bring balls. You know what I mean? Like, like you're like swimming in the sea of life, my friend.
Like that?
Yeah,
No?
it's
Alright.
it's serious. So
Is it a cool
You're
experience?
trying to
or-
chew on your own tongue right now?
it's
Like,
fascinating. That's what
Isaiah
I'll
could
say.
literally make any noise in the world and be like, right? That's from that thing, right? That anime that we both knew. It's like, oh. And you're like, oh yeah, that thing.
Dude, it's Gandalf, dude. When he's resurrected as the.
you see, we
All
don't.
right,
no, but
all
I'm-
right, all right.
Come
So-
on.
In order,
You can literally
I'm
make
going to
any
have
noise.
you do the following.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the iris? What are you doing before you leave Mars? And we can decide this in episode 10. What is your plan of attack for getting back home? And what I will say, to make the last decision easy, Earth has intentionally severed connections with you.
Wait, hold
Nora
on.
would know
Earth
that.
ghosted us?
Yeah, and Nora would know that, right? She knows that there's an
Yeah, I'd be
intentional-
like trying to
You're
get.
blocked. They blocked from the other end.
Okay.
If we
Birds,
destroyed
I
the
can't
iris,
say.
would it be easier for you to help the people of Mars?
I'm not helping them either way. Like, the decision is up to you. What you want to do with these powers.
Right. If our decision is let you help Mars, how do we do
I don't
that?
think she's not
She
gonna
will
help.
take no further action.
So you're just gonna
Just gonna sit
swat
back.
for all
Yes.
eternity?
Exactly.
Correct.
That's right.
So
You're,
it
you're
is.
useless.
How do you feel about moons?
I agree with
No,
the
it's like
captain.
she's-
I'm mad about this.
No,
see-
she's totally useless.
I see the sad
Not only has she done
metaphor
irreparable
here, but I
damage,
also
she's
see a selfish
useless.
metaphor.
Agree. I think that
she
if
says
I
what
you
think that your perspective is so three-dimensionally human that she would, without any sort of derision, look down upon you without you noticing. That's what I would say.
And
I know.
I would laugh.
Did you just make yourself taller? Are
Yeah.
you looking?
I
I
think
think-
at this point it's up to
Yeah.
us to make the decision for what happens next.
All right, Kevin, next bridge.
So, yeah,
Let's
it
just-
is what it is. I personally think we should use the iris to figure out what our plans are for leaving this planet in a better
agree.
state, then destroy it, then get the hell.
I totally agree with you. Use the
Yeah.
iris to
That
help
sounds
fix
great.
the planet and then leave and
Yep.
destroy it.
Yep.
Specify how you would like rebuild parts of the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
create that program,
to reconnect
the
their
story that you talked about.
to reconnect their consciousness as a collective, and so they can
Work.
work
All
together.
right, I would say that is a significant undertaking. So I'm going to have you do a whole nother group roll. You're
Propaganda.
each going to do different parts. Like maybe you're doing some of the building and engineering. Maybe you're doing some of the storytelling.
What I
Like
did to
whatever it
rebuild
is, you're all collaborating. So this This set of 2d6s will be the degree to which you're successful in healing the society on the planet.
So, in terms of the actual actions we're trying to take, one is spreading the truth about the history of Earth,
your
where we come
perspective
from.
on
think we
so
should-
that-
All the crap that just
Also-
happened
I think
included.
we should use the pyramid as like a hub of information that
Yeah.
people have the ability to come and absorb as much information as they would like, but we are not going to shove it down their
Big old
throats.
library.
Not propaganda.
Make it like an email on the corner that they can just click on
yeah,
whenever.
whatever
Start
you want.
email.
And
All right,
like,
we're going to go from right to left this time. 2d6, heal the planet.
Heal the planet.
9.
Yikes.
what do you do to heal the planet?
No, you don't have to. Well,
Oh.
you can if you want.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'll just help.
10. Is that
5.
guy dead, by the way? The guy that was like, oh, hey, we're going to hang out and have dinner.
Also
he's
5.
dead, right?
He's in the hotel, yeah.
Oh.
What?
5, 5.
Yeah.
Double 5.
7.
5.
You guys can use your chips for this one.
I don't have a chip.
Okay.
Chipless.
So,
Wait, is this technically a rest area?
no, this is like when you're flying.
this is the biggest safe harbor in the game, bro.
Why did I say the word rest area?
I don't know.
Is this a rest stop?
Is there like a little corner?
Is there a
of
McDonald's
this
coming up? I have to
vast
pee.
Cavern?
Is there a
Yeah, I
disgusting
really gotta
toilet?
You know, I think before you leave, I think Cetos in many ways feels a kinship with her. In many ways, it is like his mom, and I think he is somewhat hurt by your animosity toward her, but he's not really going to use that as a wedge between what you've all built up together. I
His
think,
Olympus
unlike
Mons.
what you
We're
guys, I
We
think
don't
he,
have like a. I mean, it's
Cool with the lady.
it's specified animosity. I wouldn't say we're all.
I
mean,
can
I'm
only
cool
speak
with
for my
the
character.
Strong agree.
what?
Who has animosity and who doesn't? I think we're probably split. 50-50.
I think.
Yeah?
I think
Yeah.
she's a
You guys are all
complete
pro
waste
her, you guys are all anti her.
No,
I mean,
Jared's
Not anti. I'm just. I can see both sides.
Yeah.
I'm anti. I'm pretty mad.
space. She's
Okay.
no.
I'm
no
not.
excuse.
I'm
on-
not mad at her. I
I'm-
completely understand
I'm
what she did.
sympathetic.
Yeah.
Same.
She tried her
Because it's
best,
like,
then
well,
she
I'm
failed
disgusted.
Are you-
really
are you
hard,
mad
and
at
now
a-
she's
well,
like,
are
the
you
best
mad at a
option is
baby
no
for,
option.
like,
I'm gonna
pulling
walk
a pet's
away,
tail?
and I'm like, I respect
It's a
that.
silly
I
analogy,
respect
but
that
it's-
letting
it's not,
nature
because
and
it's
time
just-
do what it's
You have
supposed
an
to do is what you're
omniscient being.
supposed to
A
do.
baby omniscient
give
that is
them
her
that.
perspective.
And
chaos
I
and
think
destroying
if
billions of
you
people.
make a
Well,
mistake,
I tried to say it earlier.
screw something
but-
up, you don't get to just decide to throw your hands up and then say, "No, I'm not going to do anything now."
She also.
I mean,
brought
she
up-
could also
Look,
continue
she's
to
having-
involve herself
she's
and do more
responsible
irreparable
for
harm in an even
obliterating an
larger
entire
way.
civilization.
So are we,
Period.
and now we're helping.
Actually,
because
all life
we
on
don't
the
get
planet,
to decide
which is
that our
worse.
hands we're
Exactly.
just gonna leave.
Emily,
could
So I don't
Self-care
understand
is
how you
very
can be.
important.
Way worse.
So Cetos isn't going to say much.
I'll give Cetas a hug for sure.
Oh yeah, he's
I would
so.
say,
sure.
you know, he's not gonna. I think what he's gonna do is he's gonna say, I'm gonna stay, and I'm going to help because my place is here. So I will actually
I shall miss you.
let Cetos help you.
Could we actually somehow establish a link with Cetos even once we're back on Earth, or is that
Once
like
you,
device?
open up
space
whatever's
Skype?
blocking on Earth,
Yeah.
then yeah, absolutely.
And
let
that
it-
technology gets us back and forth in like 30 seconds, a minute? How long does it
couple
take?
minutes.
Oh, wow.
Minutes.
Trip to
And
the
then
store and back.
Basically, the implication is
Yeah, you wanna.
human beings will now have the power to go to different stars.
Yeah.
Like
You can go
they,
to
the
any
other
planets.
civilization did.
Guys, we should conquer the galaxy.
And that's probably why we shouldn't
That's
use
why
the power.
humans.
That's
are-
why we're
That's
going to
why-
destroy the Earth.
That's
well,
a-
the propulsion is a technology that you have now permanently. In terms of the iris being destroyed, that's a cast it into the fire type situation.
Yeah.
No.
You're
Question. Oh, shoot. If the iris is destroyed, all our powers go away.
Yeah.
In
That's
essence,
right.
I die.
Yeah.
you have to put yourself in a body first.
Wait,
so
wait,
you-
hold on, hold
But
on.
your
If we,
wife's
wait, hold
gonna
on.
die,
If we blow
though.
up the Irish,
His
you die.
wife's going to die.
No,
right?
no,
No, no,
He,
I'm doing it.
yeah.
Unknown. That is part of the risk.
You could put your consciousness in 13.
Well, I don't
Shit.
think 13.
Looks just like
13
you.
is
Ronaldo.
unique. I don't want to take his body.
Then yeah.
You're going to have to create one for
Yeah.
me, buddy. Right now.
I'm
Right now.
All right, so let's just
Seriously.
do this one at a time, right? I think we've all voted. Cetos is going to stay.
What
So-
about our other friends of the group, Rana?
So
Tane.
she, well, they're obviously coming home.
Anjali, right?
You know, Tane and Rana are certainly coming home with you guys. Absolutely.
They don't get to roll.
I just want to know their reaction to this. I guess, like, who do they agree with?
Rana explicitly doesn't have an opinion because she feels like, how can I make the decision for God? it's not. I'm a human being. I feel as though that is where what I bring to the table should start and end, and it's my job to do the best that I can with what I have. And people with more or less perspective can do what they wish, but I'm going to control what I can control. Whereas Tane is completely heartbroken. He knows she's telling the truth about Earth. And as somebody who has his entire life grown up believing in Earth, to know that it could be capable of what he knows the cataclysm and the fallout was, or the calamity, excuse me, and the fallout was, just absolutely breaks his heart and is forcing him to seriously question his faith. Even though he intellectually understands the gangrenous limb analogy, he doesn't necessarily believe that was the case.
We're in Tane and I are in a similar boat then.
So our
Because-
planet cast its own flood.
Well, I'm looking at this too as they're responsible for me creating that chaos. So, you know, what I mean, I was a part of that chaos. So that's also, you know,
Yeah, you and 13.
extremely painful.
Traumatic.
Yeah, this got deep, man.
It is.
That was the point.
Let's just blow up both planets.
You know what? No,
And then-
let's blow up
There's
their
two
moons.
and then
Let's blow up their
and-
moons.
yes, and then we can just
That is just
fly
Start from
away.
scratch.
Let's go find another M-class planet to settle on.
Let's go make another planet into a god.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And so, you know, she'll say something along the lines that I hope you'll get as much out of exploring as we did, you know. And I think she's actually just going to materially disappear. And then in terms of you interacting with the society,
I'd appreciate a body.
we'll have legs.
Are
do
you
that.
her?
You obviously, using the powers of the iris, rebuild structures. There's a tremendous amount of wariness. It's almost like rats fleeing when you come in. Like, people don't want to be anywhere near you. You're feared like demons.
Good.
You do construct the pyramid and the story, and slowly but surely people do start to view it. But no matter what you do, you know that what success or failure you had is going to take time to extrapolate, and that you know, it'll be a lot more gestures of friendship than what you can do with this magic that you have. It's going to be more real. It's going to be more people focused, and treating these people like people, and finding a way to not just peacefully coexist, but to form a symbiotic relationship in the solar system, right? Your world is now just expanded yet another level. You're more than just a multi-planet species. You can be a multi-solar system species with this technology. So the responsibility on your shoulders is somewhat prophetically linked to the Earth's departing words, where the time has come to leave the nest. And we now need to see if we earn the right to do that.
I will take the reins of this empire and become God Emperor Arnold Gomez. I will do that for us. I will take on this
Yeah.
burden.
All right.
Do we have the ability to?
Can I use the iris before story to create
Yeah,
control
role
body?
play some before we leave the planet.
Yeah, so we can play a quick scene, I think. Yep, really quick scene where we talk about how you're going to use it before it's destroyed. I will give you no more than one action. You can create Marcus's body for free.
I would like to spend as much time as I can creating what will be the remnants of the tower as a representation of all of the people who died. And I will spend as much time possible healing the most wounded. And not only just like touching people, because I'll be able to save their lives, which I will do as much as possible. But I'm going to do my best to leave as much medical supply as I can that's helpful to them, because it's a lot of human medical supply. But most of her time will be spent like spiritually trying to heal these people and give them a place to connect to some faith, if I can share that with them.
Okay, that's reasonable. in a manner of speaking, you accomplish all of that. Obviously, the building is rebuilt, the debris removed, the symbolism that you place successful, the conversations that you had heartfelt and genuine. But as a human being, there are always consequences to what you do. So if they develop a faith, say, around you personally, that could be potentially dangerous.
Can we call it Trinity Tower?
God, embrace your shot.
I really don't want that.
Call whatever you wish. Legs?
I'm gonna try and use my potential to bridge the gap and do basically the same thing that I did with the wolf, but try and disseminate that to as much of the masses as I can. To try and like do the Earth and Mars holding hands, like we could build a better future for both planets if we worked together instead of hating each other.
Somewhere, so I feel like if there's someone in the audience who's a privacy advocate, they probably are very triggered by what you just asked, but feel free, I can't stop you.
Yeah. Ha! Ooh, a 2. Ha! Ooh, a 6. And a 20. A 12.
There's a 2.
Plus a hacker of 6. Good justification.
20.
That's a 20.
I would say that you are drained spiritually, emotionally, physically, and you certainly give it
What I
your
try
best.
to do
You
at
certainly
least.
give it your best shot. But I would say the imagery is almost haphazard because you don't know who they are. You are a human being raised on Earth who lived your life. You have no idea, really. Like ultimately, when it comes down to what their lives are like, what their culture is like. So it's almost like when you like know a proficient level of a language and you hear some words, right? So they're perhaps in some ways they get the gist of what you're saying, but it's not quite all there. The wolf, obviously being human, can relate to you on that level. But I would say it's difficult, more difficult than you'd give it credit for. Marcus.
I think I'd first like to ask 13, like, how you doing, brother?
He is speechless. He doesn't say anything.
I think I'd like to ask him, is it revenge you seek?
I think in many ways he feels like he has lived the purpose that he connected to the firewall about, that he has made up by collectively putting your lives on the line. And I don't think he feels like there's much reason for him to be alive anymore because he doesn't know what that purpose would be.
Yeah, I don't think my character feels that way, especially now that we have this new technology.
I'm just saying where he's
originally-
coming from.
What?
I'm just saying where he's coming
I
from.
know, so I'm relaying that to him.
Okay.
That, originally I had thought I would have no purpose after
Roll
this
for
mission.
persuade. I mean, it's a perfectly valid argument.
Yeah, I think now we do, and I would like to see
And
Adwali.
this is going to be
I
your
would,
action.
I would like to see Adwali put on trial for what he's done.
That's complicated.
That is incredibly complicated, but go ahead and...
I'm interested in that.
That's what I want to hear what my brother has to say about that as well. How he feels. I mean, after what Adwali he created us to do something horrific. How would he feel
The
about that?
Earth then, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say that...
No, Adwali is directly responsible. In my
Okay.
opinion, directly
I
responsible.
think
I
it's
mean-
really
That's
complicated.
The Earth coerced Adwali.
Doesn't matter. He's responsible. That's
Hey,
100%
audience.
fact.
All
Are you-
humans
are
have
you-
choice. I a little bit agree. I'm not in this.
When I say, I think you might be slightly underestimating the degree of influence Mars is implying that Earth had over his consciousness. However, a conversation must be had on to what degree he was conscious. If it was he was conscious, then
Look at what we've suffered through, and what we've overcome based off of. Our minds could have been easily manipulated, and all of us, the whole crew, were able to go above and beyond the Call of Duty. He was weak.
Unless you were manipulated right now to say that.
It's still exceptionally complicated.
I think
to make
I
that
feel like I'm
Um,
not here for this
Well,
conversation.
I'm
It's time
determined to
get-
put him on
I see
trial.
that.
well, first of all, roll persuade to see if you can.
We
Show
were
that there's-
manipulated in coming here to.
The age of exploration
help.
is beginning, not ending.
13.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
That's
Thematic.
Apropos.
yeah.
Really wish.
This is my twin brother.
I think
Brother, no.
he's similar to you in a certain sense where knowing that, like I just said, the age of exploration hasn't just ended, it's just begun,
Right.
right? I think that ignites something inside of him that is important. I don't think he knows what his purpose is, but I think it's buoyant enough to keep him going for a little while. All right?
But then, will you join me? then?
Yeah. Come with you.
Hug it out.
All right.
Hug it out.
Join me.
Seema?
I mean, to be honest,
With the
I'm
new
kind of
body.
torn because,
Yeah.
like, with my potential, it's like the indestructibility, the shielding. Like, what can I do to give the people of Mars, like, to help the people of Mars at this point?
Lots of stuff, if you felt like it. Or you could do nothing and take Mars's position. It's
Grab it.
entirely your call.
Grab a hammer.
You
Just,
could
like,
literally
help
just go be a person and do person stuff, like have kindness and compassion. It's entirely your call.
I don't like obviously I would want to help rebuild where I can, but like I guess I'm
Fight crime.
What's the biggest thing that Asima has felt either responsible for while we're here, or what was our biggest negative impact to the people in Asima's eyes?
I feel like we totally flipped their world upside down. Granted, it's not 100% our fault, but like in their eyes it is. So I want bridge the gap thing. Like it's the same thing with me, but it's just with my specific skill set.
Well,
Like-
people have created societies and the rise and fall of civilizations, including in this world where we accomplish what a lot of us never thought possible, and they did it all without magic. Right? So no one says that you need the iris to make a difference, but it's up to you to decide how you want to do that.
You heard it here, kids. We don't need the IRS to make a difference.
Start the
that what I sound
electoral college.
Ugh.
I mean, if you want to help me, I'm giving out medical supplies and sharing my knowledge of medicine and faith.
All you do.
So
They're all robots, so your medicine isn't really doing anything.
that's
Like,
not true. Some
get
of them
down
are
to business
partially
to defeat the
biological.
Huns.
So
Like, train
what are you
the
thinking over there?
I mean, like I'll just help out wherever needed. It's either that or it's like trying to
Can I make a
connect
suggestion?
with.
Making your new suit.
Well, one second. So trying to connect with Mars to see if I can like get more insight into what what.
Mars is gone.
Okay, so okay.
Do you mind if I make a suggestion? What if you have military training? What if like there's streets are probably chaos, right?
I don't know. Are they?
Well, check it out, and if they are, like maybe make a not a militia of some sort, but like a constable.
defense, yeah.
Yeah, like to be like, oh hey, we're gonna like cordon off areas that are unsafe. We're gonna try and take care of people, stuff like that.
I mean, I guess-
rescue operations, stuff like that.
In theory, because all of those military drones were destroyed, I mean, in some
No
way.
more all reds.
Well, yeah, So what happened with the all reds, or like?
You destroyed most of them in the battle at the chapel. So, and they're also, if they're alive, they'd be inert at this point.
Got
So I think Chris is making a great point
Yeah, so
that
maybe I can
society does not have a way of
There's no
maintaining
architecture.
a degree of order. So you could found
Yeah.
a group that
Ugh,
at
sounds
least
sketchy.
provides enough stability for society to
That could
continue.
go. That could go the bad. If you roll bad, it could go really bad.
And then rule it
But
with
they're
an
also
iron
robots,
fist.
they're not humans. So
Yeah.
they're better.
Like, oh,
You still might have a chip.
If you roll,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a tip.
you roll snake eyes.
Hear me out on
Oh,
this.
it's the SS.
hear
It's
me
a
out on
shame.
this. God Emperor Cena. Sounds good,
ahead.
right?
There's gonna be a lot
Yeah.
of God Emperors.
Like a lot of God
on
Emperors.
Straight roll.
No, Isaiah did 4. I'll give you 4,
Okay.
and then I'll deal with it.
All right. 9.
Yeah, I mean, you immediately establish yourself as a respected authority on the subject who speaks not often but with a great deal of gravitas, and you're able to impress, but not like you basically
Yeah.
get people into your service
Yeah.
and create a police force
Yeah.
who is able to govern strictly, but with a sense of compassion and empathy and understanding for the state of the society. But you do that successfully.
Okay. Word.
As general as that may sound.
Arnold and Marguerite are going to
Aw.
go around the town and work with people, like trying to teach them about like, oh hey, here's everything that happened from Earth since the calamity, and here's what happened as we got on board. Like he's gonna make a point of and handing out sandwiches.
Thank you.
This is a two-part, very important. Basically, just teaching as they can, and that seems like kind of weird because like Arnold seems to like would want to spend time with his wife, but their relationship works better when they're working. So it's just a good time for both of them, just teaching people who want to be taught, putting out papers, putting out little video clips of stuff.
Being a professor.
Yeah.
Knocks on their
Being
door.
Professor Arnold Camillus.
Exactly.
I would
Knocks on their door. Have you heard the word?
That's a perfectly fine choice. What I would strongly
know.
advise you, and I think it would be fair if I didn't mention it, is that when the iris is destroyed, you do not know if she will survive.
They're trying not to think about that.
Fair enough. Then I'm not going to make you roll because that is perfectly reasonable and well within your wheelhouse, and it's not much of an ask, and you are entirely successful at what you set out
Just
to
give us a
achieve.
perform roll anyway, though.
If you want to roll, by all means.
Yes, I do. Ooh. That's a 9 plus public speaking. 15.
I mean, you're quite successful, I think.
Quite adequate.
I think you provide a
Almost
foundation for not just education, but community education, both at the small and large levels, right? You're able to help continue that important aspect of their life, that inertia toward positively evolving for the future. And you hand out a lot of sandwiches.
And a gym. Sandwiches, gym,
Yeah.
teaching.
Yes. Lifting weights.
Nora's just gonna help with rebuilding houses. She's gonna use her ability to make workloads lighter. Like she's able to like move things and power things and go around and like try and give as much help as she can, to the point that she will probably run herself ragged, because like that's what she does best, is restoration. All she's ever done in her whole life
You
is
should change
restore.
the atmosphere to make it like more
Farmland.
Yeah, like
Oh,
I'll
your generator's not working?
I'll ensure that the atmosphere, as much as I can before the iris shuts down, breathable. Like
It already is. You haven't
yeah, I know it
ruined
was
anything.
terraformed and everything. I just want to like double check
It's a
that.
beautiful,
Once we're
incredible.
trying to also
farmland?
set it up so that when
that
they
possible?
become
Yeah,
more
can I
acceptable to
enrich
humans,
Dispose of
soil
all
for
the
agriculture?
corpses.
we can send more humans here.
I mean, the Trinity did an amazing job at terraforming.
Oh, I know.
You could in theory further their efforts, but not in this short amount of time.
Okay, then
But
yeah.
I would certainly, obviously, the first thing is totally well within
Mostly
reason.
that's what she's doing. She
And I'll
just
give that
wants
to you
to
for
run
free
herself.
unless you also want to roll, because again, none of that is.
You know what? No, I don't want to roll. I'm just gonna take it
That's fair.
because I touched my dice and then my dice said no, and then I was like yes.
Oh, sorry, honey. I didn't know I was sassier than you.
All right. Oh, jeez.
Can I also?
I'm gonna
So
pay for that.
I think you kind of, you do the Habitat for Humanity thing, right? But like a magical Habitat for Humanity thing in a lot of ways. And I think that your example of selflessness, but also the quiet dignity of your work, speaks volumes to the people that see you. And again, one of the consequences of what you do no matter what, because again, this is more intervention, is that there's now sort of a mythology that's going to form around you.
God, Emperor Nora.
All right?
She's not a god emperor.
So
She'll
again,
never
we're going
be
to
a
fast
god
forward a
emperor.
little
She
bit
kills
here.
god emperors.
Before we leave, Ian,
I didn't really use the iris.
as we're like boarding the ship to leave, I would like to leave Pig and Piglet with the pyramid to exist
Be the
as
librarians.
be the librarians, exist
Oh,
as like a true, like we were here. It's not a myth. They exist.
I mean, Pig does have the
and now
Mars
that-
neural network.
Right.
Mars
Does
neural network
Pig
and
gain
sentience.
Does
And
Pig
so
gain
Pig
sentience?
sentience.
So
Pig-
Pig is
Pig
sentient
already
enough
gains
to
sentience.
probably guide
Star's
people
own
through.
species, it literally just demolishes the.
Okay.
We come
So
back
they
in 50
say.
years and it's
You
all
ask
pigs.
Pig to do that, and Pig volunteers. And
Piglet.
he doesn't see it as a sacrifice, or she doesn't see it as a sacrifice. Instead, they, especially Pig, being sentient, sees it as an honor to fulfill that role in life. All right. So we'll
I
fast
love
forward.
you.
You're on the
So
bridge of
much
the
I could
ship, the
cry.
Kaizen, which is now repaired. You go into
Yeah,
orbit,
not the same.
and the plan is to eject the iris and blow it up from the
So we
ship.
can do that. We can.
Yep.
Okay.
That's just you've decided it's a safe way to do it.
As that's happening, Arnold is going to be out, like looking out the window, holding Marguerite's hand. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Asima, you have to roll to blow it up.
Fire.
Ones.
Can you imagine? Now it's just like floating in space.
You missed. Ah, shit.
So 10. I mean,
Yeah.
impossible.
like-
It's weapons mastery, so it's 16.
Yeah.
You know, with the
impossible.
background, the odd juxtaposition between the classic Martian red and the Earth's blues and greens behind you in the backdrop. You know, you shoot the iris out, the airlock. You know, I don't think really anyone is talking at this point. It's in many ways the culmination of everything that you've done, and you fire and it explodes. Obviously, the connection that you had all been feeling, it's almost like you were in a zero gravity environment, and now your legs are weighted to the ground. You're very much
Yeah, they are.
included.
Unless you feel weird.
And it's an utterly bizarre experience, and it's hard to describe in words. I'll let you figure it out for yourself, so your characters would interpret that.
Depressed.
Arnold, you know, your hand is still out, and unfortunately there's no one holding it from the other side. She is returned to where she was created from.
Okay. Roll for wife. I got 2 1s.
Did you
No, I got a 1 and a 4.
So you can't, like, you were basically maintaining.
Yeah,
the projection.
he's not saying anything. He just keeps staring and just finally.
Yeah.
Hank walks over and sits in the chair and holds his hand.
Aww.
It's touching. I mean, I'd say Tane would do something like that, but I think Tane is in a bad way right
Yeah.
now.
I think he's just gonna nod to you and go to the gym.
Yeah, is he still thin?
Yeah, all the things
No,
that you did
she-
that
she, like-
affected.
Yeah, I know.
nothing that
I was just curious.
Anything that's not a permanent, that wasn't requiring a permanent connection to uphold, which is virtually everything, obviously is gone. But everything that isn't, that you created, obviously still exists.
So did we ask, like, did I ask at the time, like, what was funnier, like Arnold being ripped or Arnold having like long Fabio hair, and we just went with ripped?
Both. It's
No, we
both.
went with both.
Oh, so he has long Fabio.
Yeah.
Does
okay.
he still have the mustache though?
Obviously.
Yes.
All right,
Definitely.
so
Scary man.
I made Marcus
know-
a new body with nice buns.
Good.
Rana turns the ship around and sets a course for Earth.
Maximum.
Do we have the
Yeah.
nose of the ship back?
Yeah, the ship is rebuilt.
We rebuilt it.
Repaired, and you know, it's time to finish this thing one way or the other, and come face to face with those decisions.